1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3. Give me a hot beat.
Welcome to the Grind City Media Draft Show. I'm Chris Vernon. This is Kelsey Wright Johnson. That's John Roser. And we're going to be joined by all manner of people over the course of the next few hours. You're going to see a bunch of different people coming up here, and we're going to check in with Mike Wallace, who is in Brooklyn right now. We are going to check in with Pete Pranica, who is over at FedEx Forum, and we'll keep you updated as the draft is going on. It looks like Bacon just got drafted. Zachary Risachet is supposed to go number 1, but I don't think we have any idea who could even go number 1. And what we really don't know and why we're here is because we have no idea what the Grizzlies are going to do. Whether it is trading up, whether it is trading down, or whether they end up drafting 9th overall in this draft. I think we're all the way to the draft. It just began, or it's about to begin at 7 o'clock. I guess 7:07 is the first pick of the draft. Any thoughts on what you think the Grizzlies are going to do? You want to make any predictions?
Okay, so we have thought always, if you look at the history since Zach Kleiman has been in charge of the front office, on draft, whether it's last year where they completely trade out of the draft or even the years before that, when they like somebody, they typically go up and get them.
Yep.
That's what they typically done. So I tend to think they're not going to pick at 9, whether that's moving up or moving back.
And I think you go to the obviously Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson, those picks that were very high. Those are, you're not moving out of those picks, right? Those are top 4 picks. The rest of them, you think about it, Bane, Clark, like you think about almost anybody the Grizzlies have attained, it was not the spot that they were in going into the night.
No, it wasn't. They target whoever they are targeting. They've even targeted guys in the 2nd round they've moved up to get in the 2nd round. So
right.
When they have a conviction, whether it ends up being right or wrong, when they have a conviction about a player, they go and get them.
I just want to be different. I'm going to say we pick at 9. I don't actually believe it, but I just, because everyone else
You got a player?
No.
You don't want to go that far?
No.
Don't want to go that far. Okay.
We're going to check in with Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace is in Brooklyn, which is the site of the draft, and we'll see what Mike Wallace said. Let me put on my Dylan Brooks shades.
Look at that swag.
So I poke cool. Bears. We're going to check in with Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace from Grind City Media is in Brooklyn, and who knows? Maybe he has gleaned some information while being in Brooklyn and being at the draft that maybe, just maybe, the Grizzlies are going to move up. There's been a lot of smoke that maybe they could move up all the way to 3. You know, there's been a ton of reports that maybe they would be interested in Donovan Clingan. I think one of the things that we have talked about a lot is, given the situation the Grizzlies are in, this draft night and really this whole offseason is about filling needs. We know the holes of the roster. We also know what positions aren't being taken by either guys you trade for or guys you draft. Mike Wallace, what do you think takes place? Do you think we're sitting around here until the 9th pick and that the Grizzlies select 9th overall?
No, I think there's going to be some action well before that. You know what I mean? I think they've been aggressive all day, guys. And welcome to, the Grind City Media Draft Show. As Chris and everyone said, we're going to be checking in all over the place. I do think the Grizzlies have been aggressive all day, all yesterday, trying to move up. This draft will really start at number 3 with Houston. When we figure out what Houston is going to do, I think that's going to tip the cap to what the Grizzlies are going to do. So we'll see. I do know there are intriguing storylines across the board. Jaren Jackson Jr. was here right behind me doing the red carpet earlier today. So he's already interviewed several of these prospects. I talked to Anthony Carter, Grizzlies assistant, who's in a bright pink suit in the green room, and he's going to see his son. He's going to see his son, Devin Carter, get drafted in the lottery as well, too. And then there's the big story. What are the Grizzlies going to do from here?
Do you think that if the Grizzlies trade up, they are trading to try to attain Donovan Clingan? We talked about it on the show. Nothing can happen in the social media era that people don't notice. And they were like, oh, Ja Morant started following Donovan Clingan on Instagram. And obviously there's been a lot of smoke about that over the course of the past couple of weeks. And we know that the Grizzlies have made it clear they need and want a starting center to go alongside Jaren Jackson Jr. So do you think the idea is if they are trading up in this draft, they're doing it with their eyes on Klingon?
No question about it, Chris. That's the guy. That's the target. I talked to Klingon yesterday during the interview session. He would only confirm that he interviewed with the Atlanta Hawks and worked out for the Atlanta Hawks, but he said that he also had 4 other workouts. I tend to believe that one of those workouts was with the Memphis Grizzlies. Whether it was in Memphis or elsewhere, I'm not sure. But the way Klingon answered the question, he definitely knows that there's some mutual interest there. And to see Jaren Jackson Jr. light up during the time when he talked to Klingon, that also tipped a little bit off of what the Grizzlies want to do. Do they have the capital to get it done? We'll see. That's the biggest question. Houston has a lot of things going on right now, and they can make a lot of deals. And then if it goes by Houston, then you're talking about San Antonio, which is picking 4th and 8th. The problem there is that you're going to have to make a trade with 2 teams in your same division who are going to try to help you get the player you want. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be easy.
So should we be looking at 5 in Detroit?
5 in Detroit is there. 6 and Charlotte is also there as well. But a lot of people around here don't believe Klingon is going to be on the board that long. So we'll see what happens. I think the Grizzlies are it's going to be a fluid situation all night. So that's why I'm looking forward to checking back in throughout the night and giving you guys as much of the updates I can.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
All right,
Mike
thank you,
Wallace is at Barclays, where the NBA draft is going to be going on, and he says they have tried to be very aggressive, and he thinks Klingon is the target.
He had conviction about that he thinks they are going to move. So we'll see.
I mean, look, it's not going to be for lack of trying. That's what we're kind of gathering,
yes.
Right? That the Grizzlies are going to. And I do think that when you look and you see the aggression that the Knicks have treated their offseason. You see Oklahoma City go and get Caruso. And then you saw Zach Kleiman at the end of last year say, we are in a championship window now, and we are going to go for it. This is like step 1.
Yes.
Step 1 is this draft, and then you're going to get into free agency and trades. But, I mean, they're trying to bolster this roster and take a run at the Western Conference next year. And they think that if they could get a cost-effective center that was just part of a great collegiate team, that's the best mode of operation.
I mean, 2 national championships, right, with Klingon? And I think something super underrated, Devin and I were talking about this earlier today, I was just texting him, is his nickname. Have you heard it?
No.
Kling Kong?
Kling Kong?
Kling Kong?
Oh, I like Kling Kong.
He sells merch.
I'll tell you this. I told Roser today, I was listening to Dan Hurley talk about him, and that's when I got sold. I was like, he said, if it's a 7'2" guy, right? And he said if he was on your baseball team, you'd put him at shortstop or center field. And if you threw a football at him, he'd catch it like a receiver.
He's a 7'7"
and he'd
wingspan.
throw it back to you like a quarterback. He said this guy is a real athlete. And obviously, we've been blessed with some bigs that weren't necessarily the perfect job prototype.
Yeah.
Like Valanciunas, like Steven Adams. This guy is the closest thing to, in this draft, he's the closest thing to what we have wanted.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that he opens up to, as you mentioned, as a screener, as a passer, and things like that, is we saw Jaren become more of a playmaker this year.
Yep.
So maybe sometimes we're cleaning screens for Jaren. I'm getting ahead of myself because we actually have to get him first.
Yeah, I know. Well, hopefully, look, Mike Wallace says that's what they could be going for. Let's get over to Pete Pranica. He is at FedEx Forum tonight, and hopefully he's going to be able to run downstairs and say, Zach Kleiman, what do you think about getting so-and-so and so-and-so, right? There's all kinds of available guys tonight, and whether it is through trade or whether it is through the draft, everybody's hopeful that the Grizzlies improve their team. Pete, what are you thinking about tonight?
Well, all I know is I can't get down to the war room. I know that for a fact. Security is very, very tight here. I'm at Caesars Sportsbook with our great sponsor friends, Pinnacle Financial Partners. They're all watching the draft with me tonight. I agree with what you have said, which is Zach Kleiman will move heaven and earth to get what he wants. Now, the question is, will heaven and earth be enough to get them to 3 where they can get Klingon? That would be the obvious target. The question is, if they don't pick at 3 and they pick at 9, is Zach Edey an option? Or now do you start looking at a big wing? Or do you trade down maybe and look at where the big out of Indiana? So this is going to be one of the more compelling drafts I think we've ever seen, not just for the Grizzlies, but for the entire NBA. Because at this point, nobody knows nothing about anything.
Because you got a couple needs, right? We always, you look, you're calling every game that we have. You always want more guys that can make a play off the bounce, more guys that can shoot the basketball, and more guys that can block shots and rebound. Like, those are the needs for the Grizzlies. And so, however those can be addressed, whether that means a trade, whether that means free agency, or whether it's tonight with the draft, I think that's what we want, right?
Well, and I think the player that the Grizzlies select will tell us a little bit more about how their offense is going to be. Are they going to be a 5-out offense the way Boston was this year? Now, if you get Zach Edey, 5-out maybe is not the option that you're going to have. So it's going to be it's a Rubik's Cube, really,
right,
of personnel and style and draft picks, and we're about ready to get started with the draft.
We'll be checking back in with you. Thanks, Pete. Pete Pranica at FedEx Forum. All right, so the Hawks are on the clock right now. The pick is in. The pick is in. And I think, look, it's been reported, they threw a little curveball there about 20 minutes ago saying, hey, it might be Reed Sheppard from Kentucky. And everybody was like, what? The whole time this is supposed to have been Zachary Risachet.
But you like Reed Sheppard.
I love Reed Sheppard, but he's never been talked about as being the first pick.
No.
Not to mention, they've got to do some figuring out with the Atlanta Hawks with what they're doing with both DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. And so, unless you're getting rid of Trae Young, it wouldn't make any sense to have Reed Sheppard on your team anyway. So, are we expecting? I think.
But you like Reed Sheppard.
I love Reed Sheppard, but he's never been talked about as being the first pick. Not to mention, they've got to do some figuring out with the Atlanta Hawks with what they're doing with both DeJounte Murray and Zachary Risachet. All right.
Back-to-back years, France gets the #1 pick.
Well, I talked about this on the air today. There have not been a very good track record of guys that are face-up guys from France. They've all been big guys that have been successful, whether it's Wemby, whether it is Rudy Gobert, on and on and on. Generally, the guys that have been very successful, and there's been Evan Fournier, there's been Nick Batum, but then there's been a lot of guys that have not played out. And so, I don't know, because the combine numbers might be a little sketchy from the Euro Combine. His combine numbers were terrible.
They were.
Not very athletic. He was not an NBA athlete.
But he's a scorer.
On his
he can score from everywhere.
He can score from everywhere.
Super efficient from three. Although we were making fun of him earlier for being a Harrison Barnes comparison.
And he also has he doesn't have a long wingspan, and I don't know. Look, there's smarter people than me that say that Zachary Risachet is one of these guys that you're going to look up in a couple of years, and is a lot different player and is going to be very successful in the NBA. I can't imagine that if you're at the Hawks party tonight, you're going crazy over this. I mean, you can watch this guy on YouTube and I don't know. His highlights aren't even I watch Rob Dillingham's highlights and I'm like, oh my God.
That's cool. Let's get him. That's fun, right?
This guy's highlights are not, oh my God. I mean, they're going to be running them here in a minute. Here we go. Here's the highlights for Zachary. Doesn't he look like he's not going to be any good? Am I crazy? I don't know. I can't tell.
He looks like he's not good.
He's 6'9", 204. He averaged just under 10 points.
That's like 85% of the NBA right there.
So wait,
6'9", 205.
So wait. He's a foot taller than me and Roser and weighs the same? What are we doing?
That's facts. That's actually facts.
What are we doing? 204?
204.
All right, well, congrats to the Hawks. Look, every time, and Clingan was a talk there, that maybe Donovan Clingan could end up going #1, which would make some sense because obviously he's a very good prospect, but also Quinn had Rudy Gobert in Utah.
Right.
So if you were trying to protect, say you're going to stay in the Trae Young business and you're trying to protect him defensively, nothing's better than having a guy that can guard the basket.
And Clint Capella's been on the chopping block for
Yeah,
ever.
that frees up that, hey, we can move on from Capella.
So any pick that comes through that's not clinging, if we know that is the Grizzlies' desire, and they've got to be able to trade up to get him, the farther he falls down, the better.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some sentiment, at least within the last week or two, that Clingan could possibly go number one. People didn't really know who was going to go number one in this draft. What we got?
Number 2 is in.
Number 2 is already in?
Oh,
I
the
guess
pick,
we're
the
on
pick is
delay.
already in. We have an idea. It's as Mike Wallace said that this draft is going to start at number 3, which is what we expect because it appears 1 and 2 are going to go
Like we thought
like
they were
we
going
thought
to
they
go.
were. Yeah.
Well, here's what we know. We know that once they get to 3, Houston holds the cards into how the way the rest of this draft is going to go. The big thing with Houston is they are in the situation much like the Grizzlies where they want to be good now. And drafting a 19-year-old when they've got half of a locker room filled with 19 and 20 and 21-year-olds is not the best mode of operation for them to improve necessarily. They've got 6 guys in the first couple of years of their contracts. And so I figured always once they got the 3rd pick that it was most likely that they would use that as the asset rather than an actual player, that they would use the 3rd pick as an asset in order to improve their team as much as they could. And so we will see.
Ime Udoka does not strike you also as a coach who probably wants to coach a rookie.
No.
and really have to play and develop him. He is ready to win right now.
I mean, it's a great asset to have. And
It is.
that's what I know the Grizzlies were so disappointed because you have these rat seasons and then you hope you're getting a top 5 pick. Like, that's the payoff. Because then, even if I'm not going to draft another rookie, I can use that to improve my team.
Right.
And I've always thought that's what Houston was going to do. I'd be surprised.
I mean, they've taken 4 rookies who play for them the last 5 years. So,
Right.
do you need another?
And Houston could really milk this because Mike mentioned San Antonio. They could do a deal with San Antonio where San Antonio moves up to 3, Houston gets a little bit extra to move back to 4, and then they could also move out of 4 and get out of that and get even more. So Houston, I mean, they really do. They've got a lot of options here.
Unless the Spurs feel like they could just get Rob Dillingham at 4th.
Right.
And they are the obvious one that does not have a name next to them that makes all the sense in the world, right? Like the other.
All right, it's officially in.
All right, let's see. There's the number 2 pick in the
With
NBA
the second pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select Alex Sarr from Toulouse, France.
Hey.
France.
Oh, wow, the 4 Wizards fans in the world. All at the draft?
It's been a tough
crazy.
go for the Wizards.
Their owner probably flew them all in.
So, Roser, he's the brother of Olivier Sarr, who you probably saw with
I
OKC.
saw
Blue
in
was
the
here.
G League. That Oklahoma City G League team was unbelievable. I saw them towards the end of the year. They ended up winning the G League championship. Yes, his brother Olivier Sarr will catch every lob you throw. He is huge.
All right, so Kevin O'Connor, he really soured me on Sarr by talking about how he just kept taking the easy way out.
So I got soured on him.
And
If I believe it was right, what they said about him is that his layup percentage
It's like 40s.
48% of layups.
That's
I'm like,
tough.
Okay, man. Like playing against not great competition.
He's also 61% from the free throw line. That's not great.
Yeah.
And 29% from 3.
We're out on him. Bad pick. Of course, the
Joe.
Wizards.
Congrats on hey, look, the guy achieved his dream.
Oh,
And
good for him,
Maybe
yeah.
he turns out to be awesome.
Maybe he does.
Again, these are YouTube players.
Yes.
Nobody sat around and was watching Zachary Risache and Alexander Sarr on a regular basis. And so they end up with the second pick and they take this guy, Alex Sarr.
There was scouting reports that said he was the most naturally talented prospect, but then we just went through his percentages, so I don't know what to think about him.
Yeah.
He's fluid, how he moves. It's
Okay.
fluid.
Okay.
Well, like he played for Overtime Elite,
Yeah.
and then he was going to be playing, he could have gone and played big-time college basketball, or he could have gone and played overseas, or he decided to go to Australia, and like everybody just keeps saying he takes the easy way out. He didn't even work out for Atlanta because he didn't want to be the number 1 pick in the draft. So I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what to make of it all, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe he just really wanted to play with Tyus.
Tyus Jones is not going to be there.
Maybe he's tight with Bilal. I mean, if you're tight with Bilal, then
Maybe so.
yeah. I mean,
I promise you this:
both
if
from France.
Tyus Jones has to walk away
From the
he
NBA.
will walk. No, I mean he's going to be a free agent. Tyus Jones is going to have all manner of suitors this offseason. And this guy, I mean, I'm sure he wants to go. And look, you can go and average 20 points a night playing for the Washington Wizards. All right, so we're about to be coming up to the 3rd pick in the draft. And this is the big one.
This is the big one.
Because the Houston Rockets have the 3rd pick, and you don't know what player is going to come off the board, and when the player comes off the board, does that mean that player was selected because of a trade, possibly in the works? Is anybody reporting on it yet?
Yes.
yeah.
What's the report?
Sham says that they took someone.
They
Is it
selected
Klingon
a
or is
player.
it Shepard?
Shepard.
It's Shepard.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's been all the mocks.
Yeah.
All the mocks have said that they are going to take Reed Shepard, but and maybe they just stay with Reed Shepard.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the succession plan with Fred VanVleet there.
It's Reed Shepard's mom's birthday today.
I love Reed Shepard. I thought if the Grizzlies were going to trade up, and well, look, now Detroit is a good partner here.
They are.
You just got to hope that they're not trying to pair Klingon up with Wemby.
That's ridiculous.
Imagine trying to get a shot off.
Like, dude, don't do that.
They can try to do
It's
the
just
David Robinson, Tim Duncan
the
thing.
David
ever
Robinson, Tim
fall.
All
Duncan
these years
thing,
later.
yeah. Or back in the, what was it, Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson back in the day? Like,
There is not an obvious Spurs pick,
There's
so you
not.
wonder if they would be a trade partner.
because they've got 8.
Or you wonder if, because Klingon is not an obvious fit for them.
No.
I don't think anyone is. They need everything.
And then you get down to 5, and that's Detroit. And Detroit needs literally anything and everything.
So do the Spurs.
And Detroit's got a new GM who you know is, I mean, that could be the only thing about Tough making a trade with them is because new GM, he probably is like, okay, I've got the 5th pick. I want to make this 5th pick.
I'm going to be honest. I'm glad the Spurs didn't get Reed Shepard.
Yes.
Because I think that even if he can't stay in front of everybody, he's got Wembanyama behind
Yeah,
him
it
if he's
doesn't
there.
matter.
And that whole inside-outside, having the best shooter and the best big guy in the next 3 years would be mega annoying.
Yeah.
He shot 52% from 3.
Yeah,
Wemby
he
can
was
cover for us.
he was in the 96th percentile of every type of shot too, off the dribble, off
Catch and
the
shoot.
catch, like catch and shoot, you name it.
And a 42-inch standing vertical.
Yeah.
Like he's an athlete.
He's a real athlete. What's that? Hopefully, if we have the 4th pick, however it ends up.
The 3rd pick in the 2024
Oh,
NBA Draft, the Houston Rockets select Reed Shepard from the University of Kentucky.
There we go.
There
Shams
you go.
ruined it for us.
Sure enough, Reed Shepard. And I guess the trick is going to be, did they take him for themselves or did they take
Right.
him for
Yeah. Yeah.
did
Are they keeping
take
it
him
or are they
for
giving it to somebody else?
somebody else?
When will we
Because-
know?
Well, I mean, like, look, I think that they probably took them for themselves. Every team, I've talked about this a lot when it comes to this draft, everybody wants the Reed Shepards of the world because everybody wants shooting.
Yeah.
In the NBA right now, what everybody covets is somebody that can knock down an outside shot and open up space for everybody else on the floor. Because it's not necessarily the impact you have individually sometimes, it's how you affect everybody else on the floor.
Jake Fisher says that they intend to keep him, so that the Rockets are going to keep him. So
Interesting because they'll have VanVleet, and they have Jalen Green, and they have Amen Thompson. And so, I mean, this is a 7th guy in their first couple of years in the league. They've got Tari Eason, they've got Cam Whitmore, they've got Alperen Şengün. They've got a ton of young guys on that Houston Rockets team.
Jabari Smith Jr.
And they've got picks, too.
Right.
They've got a lot to work with. They definitely have a lot to work with because, Ime Udoka, like, he does not want all of these young guys. And there were reports last night of them wanting interested in Kevin Durant if he were to become available. So they at some point are going to package some of this to get a big name if it becomes available.
Right. And I think that's what people were talking about yesterday was, are they using this 3rd pick to try to trade for Kevin Durant or somebody else good that could make them good immediately? Because they're kind of like right on the outside looking in, and all these Western Conference teams now are trying to load up.
I mean, they needed shooting, though. That's the one thing that I have in the notes is like their one lack of, they just fell short of the play-in was shooting. And so if they could get Reed, and they obviously did up at 3.
I mean, there's a lot of people that love Reed Sheppard in this draft, myself included, and it's because he could shoot.
Yeah.
He's what?
He had the best statistical profile since Curry.
Yeah, as far as shooting goes.
In terms of a guy that can just shoot the ball. It wasn't like, hey, he's the best shooter in this draft. He's the best shooter in any draft for the last 10 years.
I mean, he's shooting almost the same percentage from the 3 as Sarr was shooting from a layup.
And the other thing is he's a good athlete who can block shots and he can rebound and he almost broke Rondo's steals record at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, look, we're 3 picks in and no Donovan Clingan off the board. But this has gone chalk so far.
It has.
The mocks were right on this so far, and I think that the whole idea was the mocks are going to be wrong about this year's draft.
And they have not been so far at all.
They have not.
Well, it's because the mocks were also different. Like some of those were in different order.
Right.
But like those 3 were those 3.
Zachary Risache, Alex Sarr, and Reed Sheppard. And so now we're going to get to 4.
Now
and that's
it really
going to be
starts.
San Antonio. Because those have gone exactly how most people had that lined up.
Mm-hmm. And the Spurs won 22 games last year, so they will take any talent they can get.
There you go. That's Reed Sheppard. Boy, he looks young, doesn't he?
My gosh, he looks like he's 15.
His dad won Most Outstanding Player in the NBA draft.
So there's been reports of the 4th pick.
Yeah, we're going to get to the 4th pick coming up with San Antonio. And so, look, we're just sitting here. We're hoping if the Grizzlies are trying to go get a center and they covet Donovan Clingan, every time another guy's name comes off the board
You're like,
that is not Donovan Clingan,
you're happy.
But it is said that he will not get past Portland at 7. So it is
which is so odd. They've got
wanna
DeAndre Ayton and they've got Robert Williams.
I don't think they're banking on Robert Williams playing.
Probably not.
But Ayton, unless they just want to move off him.
And then just build around Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp and Donovan Clingan.
And Denny Abdia.
Oh, yeah, they made
got
a deal
today.
for Denny Abdia
Who
tonight.
they gave up like 3 first-round picks for, or whatever it was.
Crazy. All right, we're about to be coming up to the 4th pick. It says the pick is in for the San Antonio Spurs.
Look who's here.
Oh, the pick is in. The pick is in.
Love, my boy. Love, my boy.
It's the grindfather, Tony Allen.
First team.
Much love, man. Much love. How everybody doing out there? Okay, then. We lit in Arkansas, baby. We is lit.
Yeah. All right, Tony, so we're sitting here, we're just hoping that the center from UConn just stays on the board as long as possible. We're all the way down to 4. San Antonio's got the pick. Surely they're not going to take a 7'2" guy and put him next to Victor Wembanyama.
No, I don't think they'll do that, but.
Right. And so it might make it down to 5, and then that's Detroit, and who knows? You might be able to swing a deal with Detroit.
Yo, I'm looking forward to us just keeping our fingers crossed, man. Everything go our way, man. We should be good.
You want a center?
I definitely want that. The big fella from UConn, man. Bring him on home. Yeah.
Do you guys all want Donovan Clingan? You do want Donovan Clingan.
What about Zach Edey? They're mixed on there.
I'm shocked.
There's
I'm
mix.
shocked.
The Spurs war room looks fun. All right, here we go, Adam Silver. Tell me what we got.
With the 4th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Stephon Castle.
That's a great pick. Great pick. Now, I think his game is going to blossom in the NBA. This cat right here, I'm talking, I see him at the Rookie All-Star game. Might be Rookie of the Year.
I was talking about this today on the show, Tony. You know, I watched that the Knicks team put together the Villanova team. They had one of the greatest college basketball teams ever, and then they went to the NBA, and then surprise, surprise, a lot of those guys turned out to be great players, right? Fantastic players in the NBA, and now they've put them together as a group in New York, and most people think New York's going to be awesome next year. Well, you look, and I'm like, this feels, again, kind of like the Villanova thing, because it's not so often you get teams that truck everybody.
Right.
When they truck everybody, and I think I think you could go back to even your Oklahoma State team.
Yeah.
You could go back and you could say, oh, surprise, surprise, Tony Allen was Big 12 Player of the Year. Tony Allen was a big part of this Oklahoma State team that destroyed everybody on their way to playing against St. Joe's and playing in the Final Four. Surprise, the guy ends up being good. I kind of look at it with Castle and with Clingan and with the other UConn kids. It's like, are we just going to look up and like, oh yeah, of course they're good. That's why they destroyed everybody when they were in college.
And man, well coached. It was well coached as well. So a lot of that carry over into the league. You get under a great system, get on a good team, man. It's just like night and day from the cats who don't get that experience.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to this kid being great on both ends.
Also, with this kid, Tony, it says something to you. When you're the 5-star recruit that comes in and all the vets like you and you play well with everybody else on the team. A team that shares the ball, a team that screens for each other, a team that communicates and plays for the greater good. Because I think that says a lot about the kid. He's like the 5-star kid, and most times when you're a high-level recruit, it's like, man, I'm only going to be here for a year. I got to get mine so I can get my draft stock up, right?
Yeah, and when you go to those programs and you got that mentality, it's easy for cats to be ball hogs, not look your way. But once you buy into the system, you play the right way. And this cat, he played defense too. Yeah. He hold his hat on the defensive end. If you saw him in a national championship game, he was locking up all through the tournament. So I like Stephon Castle, man. Like I say, I could see him being for sure a rookie all-star or maybe rookie of the year.
I was thinking about this earlier today. I don't think there's anybody San Antonio could have drafted that people wouldn't have been like, well, I mean, it's going to look good next to Wembanyama, right? Wembanyama is that crazy that it's like, who's not going to be better by getting to play with him?
They got your boy Oshim to beat him.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no, man. No, why that? Come on.
I like the Ray Allen and the Mecca Oberfoot.
He's literally the only bad one.
Yeah, right. Like Daniel Marshall had like a 12-year, 13-year career.
Emeka Okafor got ruined by injury, but certainly the first couple of years, I mean, he's a reasonable player. Hey, where are we at on the chain?
Oh, yeah, he iced out already. He in debt already going into the NBA.
Hey, Popovich.
That look like a $200,000 chain right there.
Hey, Popovich is going to say, take that off.
As soon as he get that, this is not our swag.
Take that off.
You need a polo early. But I like the suit, though.
Oh, look at Dan Hurley getting some airtime.
Yeah, man. Shout out to that coach, man. Turning down $80 million to coach one of the greatest.
$60 million.
Oh, my bad. $60 million to coach one of the greatest players in the world. Got to give him a little kudos.
I think it's really cool that his coach is there, actually, because in his scouting report, Stephon Castle, the big word that everyone kept saying was coachability. So you can see how special it was to have him, and it kind of exactly what Tony was saying, too. He's that guy who's not about just him.
All right, look, we're already going to be down to 5. There's no way Detroit takes Donovan Clingan, right? Like, all they have is centers.
Right.
They got Jalen Duren over there, correct?
Yes.
But he's been in the trade.
And they have Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah.
Who's also been talked about being traded.
Yeah.
They both have.
Yeah. Oh, I'd take Jalen Duren in a second.
Well, you remember when the Knicks used to have like 47 power forwards on the roster?
Yeah.
So it is possible. Just keep stockpiling centers if you're Detroit.
Yeah. Hopefully we're going to get.
This is interesting because I think some of the stuff had them with Dalton Connect this morning, but like Detroit's pick has kind of been. You've seen a bunch of names mentioned with it. Like, you really don't know.
Detroit won 14 games last year. They could take anyone.
It's your squad, Kelsey, it's your squad outside the Grizzlies. We know you love the Pistons every year.
Well, and it also hasn't made any sense because they had.
There go our boy.
They've taken.
There go our boy, DC.
There he is.
Give it up for DC. You got to welcome him home now.
Not the stank face.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go, number 5. This
Lane.
one's going to be the surprise so far at number 5.
The pick is in.
This is going to be a surprise one.
Oh my gosh, I'm stressed.
Chris, in fact, you mentioned him to me before and said he is rumored that he may slide. He is not sliding.
Okay.
He's going higher than expected.
I guess we're going to find out that it's one of these the major high school guys. Look, the pick is in. We're going to get to see this announcement here in a minute. Look, we're now getting into territory where you said there was a report saying that Portland is not going to pass on.
It's thought that, he's
but they're obviously open for business. I mean,
Right.
They just made that Denny Avdia move, and they moved off of Malcolm Brogdon, and they've got those centers, and so who knows? Who's got 6? Charlotte?
Charlotte.
I like Mark Williams,
I do too.
the big guy they drafted from Duke.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't need him.
No.
So we just got to get past these two.
You don't need him. You don't need him.
We'll need. Hey, Chris, I like those shades, man. You pretty.
These
pretty
are Dylan
swaggy,
Brooks's.
right? Yeah, them pretty swaggy,
No,
right?
these are actually Dylan Brooks's.
Oh, them nice.
No, they are. They
Like
were
he-
Dylan's. They were Dylan's.
You look like a rapper right now.
I poke bears. That's what he said. You remember that? And then we got our ass kicked. It didn't work out. All right, the pick is in for the Detroit Pistons.
My Pistons, who are you taking?
Kind of wild that Trajan Langdon, I forgot he's running the Pistons.
Yeah.
He's there, the one giving everybody high fives.
The Alaskan assassin.
Ron Holland, the #1 high school player
I like Ron Holland.
a year ago. Who wouldn't like Ron Holland? I wish his thumb wouldn't have been busted when he played against the Memphis Hustle this year.
Yeah, we never.
Is that what
AC, my boy AC in the building.
Yeah,
Check him
there
out
he
with
is.
the pink on.
You like that suit?
Oh man, he's styling on them people. Oh man, they got Arn Tellum over there in Detroit. That's an Asian, right? They one of the biggest Asians in the game, right there to the left.
Yeah, he's the president of basketball ops there.
Yeah, Arn Tellum, man. Yeah, well, we got this time. Wait, man. Shout out to my boy Drizz, man. He got the 1212.com and Ain't It Lame t-shirt. Gotta give him a drop. Big shout out to my boy Drizz. Y'all tune in. Y'all Ain't
The
It Lame.
pick is in.
Yeah,
With
much
the
love.
5th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Ron Holland II.
That's a good pick. Anything but DC. Anything but DC, man. We good.
Hey, I did talk about this, Roser.
Yeah.
You like him?
I do like him, and I think this is very. I think that G.G. Jackson had an impact on this.
What do you mean?
He
I
very
really
well
do.
could have.
I think that when last year G.G. Jackson ended up having a bad year in South Carolina, then we were able to get him 45th in the draft. G.G. Jackson was always the #1 player in that high school class. And then he had that year, and then everybody got off the scent completely.
Well, he reclassified and
Right.
entered South Carolina at a young age. This was supposed to be his freshman year of college, and he was going to go to North Carolina.
So of all the kids that were freshmen this year in college basketball, Ron Holland was supposed to be the best of all of them. He didn't go and play college basketball. He instead went and played in the G League, and he averaged 20 points a night.
Yep.
Yes.
On a terrible team, no less, but he averaged 20 points a night playing against real basketball players, against teams like the Memphis Hustle on a regular basis, the guys that are fighting for their lives, that are trying to get NBA contracts, and there ain't that many college basketball players that would have gone into the G League last year and averaged.
We gonna know
20.
something after 6.
We got a Woj bomb.
You gonna know.
Oh boy.
Another team
There-
is working to move up and secure Donovan Klinging, sources tell ESPN. Portland. That's all it says.
Portland is trying to get up to get Donovan Klinging.
It says
Jake Fisher has a report that Charlotte is trading back from 6 to 9 with the Grizzlies.
no.
That the Grizzlies are coming up to number 6.
So they trading with the Grizzlies.
Now, that's for Jake Fisher has reported that from Yahoo.
Oh.
Yeah, he gonna report it all.
Let it
right
be
here.
true. Let it be
We gonna
true.
report it all right here. Come on, Rosa. We banking on you, Rosa.
Is that
That
better not be a fake account?
It's his.
That better not. Hey, don't let him get
If
caught,
it's
Tony.
not,
The ultimate head fake.
it says the
Woj is
Grizzlies have long
saying.
wanted.
Why does Woj not have this? What's he saying? He's saying Portland's trying to get up.
No, it just says it's worded weird. It says sources tell ESPN Portland.
Huh?
That's all it says. Another team working to move up to secure Donovan Klinging.
And that's what you got to realize about the NBA, man. It's business. They working on the clock, man.
Jake
Tell-
Fisher said
Hey.
that the Grizzlies are trading with Charlotte.
that's what he says.
Slow feed, man.
Man,
I know
let
slow
it be
feed.
true.
He says the Grizzlies have long wanted
Come
Donovan
on now.
Klinging.
Slow feed don't eat. You got to go and get
Portland
to it.
has also wanted
Show.
Klinging as well, holding number 7. So, yeah. Charlotte is working on a trade back to number 9.
Wow.
Come on, Charlotte.
What would we be giving Charlotte?
What would you
Are we
be okay
giving
with
them?
doing?
Are we giving them picks in the future? Are we giving them
Let's
players?
See if it turns out to be real. There's nothing else coming out, though.
Nobody else has said anything about that.
Nobody
else has said anything.
What does Jake know?
Oh boy.
Or he.
Jake Fisher, it's your ass if you're wrong about this, brother.
I just got a text from somebody who works in Portland and said, "Don't do it. Don't you do it."
They want him.
they wanted
They
to.
want him.
They want Donovan Klinging as well.
I am refreshing.
Is
my
Charlotte
memory.
about to get like 10 first-round picks for this pick in between us and Portland? Like, who's going to give us more? Who's going to give us more?
So it sounds like the Grizzlies at 9 and Portland at 7 are both trying to get to 6
Yes.
to Charlotte's pick.
Yes, which is on the clock.
But that doesn't make any sense to me. Because they're assuming if Charlotte wanted Donovan Klinging, they would just take Donovan Klinging. Right?
That makes sense.
But I don't think.
But
Charlotte
they
does.
don't want Donovan Klinging, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
then-
that's who Portland.
What I'm saying is Portland's the next pick.
Portland's the next
Why
pick.
is Portland trying to get up to 6?
And because they heard the Grizzlies.
Because
are
they
trying
heard
to
the
get
Grizzlies
up
are offering a bunch to get up to him, and that's who they want. So like,
So they're just trying
we've
to
got to
hop
go
up.
get him.
They're trying to hop up to the spot
Yeah.
ahead
That
of
we
theirs
We've gotta go
because
get
that's
him.
the
Yeah.
only place.
And probably use it to trade it. We just seen that happen a lot in the draft too. Get the pick, then trade it. You never know. So having some assets.
Oh boy, this
How
has
it
gotten
go, man.
good. Look, we made it through the first 5 picks of the draft. The Ron Holland thing was super surprising.
Yeah, Ron, that was the first surprise of the night. We were not surprised by either of the top 2 picks. I think 3 and 4 were not really shocking either. We're not surprised Castle went 4th or Shepard went 3rd.
Ron Holland was going to be in the lottery.
I
We're just
do
surprised.
think there was a lot of people that thought Donovan Klinging will not make it past 5.
Yes.
Well,
So
he
on that
might not-
level-
it doesn't look like he's making it past 6.
On that level, it is surprising. Ron Holland's the one that threw a wrench into all of this by him going 5th overall.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Detroit.
stomach hurts. What's going to happen? Oh,
We got a report?
Yeah.
What we got?
there's a report that Charlotte just picked someone,
Yeah. And it's
and it's not Donovan Klinging.
Oh boy. Not great.
it's
That's
not.
good for
Yeah.
us.
So I guess there was not a deal that was made?
Best available.
Guess not.
Oh
Best available.
boy.
Wow.
Oh, my
He
belly.
number 1 on the board too. At best available.
All right.
There's pressure on us right now.
We'll see what the pick is when it comes up.
It is.
Charlotte is the team that the Grizzlies were rumored to, and so the next one is Portland, and that's what everybody's saying. Klingen's not going to make it past there.
Fisher followed it up with the Hornets are now staying at number 6.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot,
Idiot.
Jake.
So let's
Got
just
all
say,
of our hopes up.
So CV, let's just say we don't get what we want, right? What direction we go in? Do we trade the pick?
I wouldn't be surprised if we moved down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they might just take somebody number 9. It depends on what's on the board,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
that
Woj tweeted like 2 things in advance. He said Charlotte is keeping this person, and Klingon will now make it to the Blazers at number 7.
Oh my
Yeah.
Yeah, they trying to be some party poopers.
Oh,
That's what they trying to do.
Gross. What do they need? DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams, and they're going to draft Donovan Klingon? That's why you suck.
You got to realize the Robert Williams is kind of shaky. He never was healthy.
I mean,
You think?
Never healthy.
Never healthy.
So it's like, yeah, that can't be possible.
I mean, it's almost like, I think with his knees, it's almost like bone on bone
Yeah.
at this point. He's had so many knee problems.
Yeah. And then Aiden, I don't know. He a fly guy, I guess.
I mean, he's $100 million,
Yeah.
right? That's what it
But we
costs.
knew if they want to Klingon, they were going to have to trade up and get him. We knew that.
And it sounds like they tried.
And it sounds like they probably tried like hell to do it. And I'm sure reports.
I don't
will
care
come
about
out.
try.
And I'm
I
sure
used to listen
reports.
to Jerry West always say it
Yeah.
takes 2 to tango. I mean, nobody care about all that crap.
And I'm
Hey,
sure
hey,
the
what-
reports
what
will
you
come out
think,
on
Tony?
what they offer.
Show me the baby, Tony. Show me the baby.
Oh man.
Let's do it, man.
All right, we're going to find out who they took number 6
I think this is another surprise too.
in Charlotte.
it is.
Well, we just had Ron Holland go number
With
5.
the 6th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Tijian Salon from Cholet, France.
France is taking over.
Okay then. Okay then. Okay then.
He's very much a project player, 18 years old, but he has
What's
a big
up-
upside.
Bro, so you telling me all the NBA GMs just went to France and just said, hey,
Yes.
you gonna go get us a France
Yes.
player, huh?
They saw Wemby.
They saw Wemby.
Frenchman.
They saw Wemby.
Wow. Wow. This got to be the most French guys in one league, bro.
They saw
Got a
Wemby
lot of
and
French
said-
guys.
How many French guys do you think are in the NBA? I saw it this morning.
You know?
Said that after this draft, there's going to be blank. How many do you think?
At least 10.
20.
maybe.
20?
20.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
There's 14, and I think there's going to be 6, I think, after this.
Wow.
Is that the
The
most?
number will get up to 20.
Is that the most under, like, American? I don't know. Canada might be.
Need to send my boy to France, huh?
I'll tell you this, 5 and 6 were both surprises.
Yeah.
Ron Holland and Salon, no mock draft had that.
Maybe 7 will be
No,
a surprise, too.
All right, so now Portland's going to have the next pick, and everybody's in the
It's-
free world
yeah.
saying that they're going to take Donovan
They're going to
Klingon.
take. Yeah, they're going to
Oh,
take.
what a
Klingon.
bummer. After we got so excited that the Grizzlies were going to trade up to try to get Klingon.
We got a
Oh,
little.
he looked like he could shoot that thing.
You like this guy?
Yeah.
Give me a scouting report, Tony.
No, yeah, you got to close out. You got a full close out to this dude. Man. And then it's crazy back in the day, man. When you used to get drafted from overseas, you used to have to wait about 2-3 years before you come over. These guys are sitting in the green room.
Yeah.
They ready to play. All that money they giving out in the NBA now. Ain't no staying overseas. Coming to get that bag, man. What you reading, Rose? Look like you deep in thought right here.
I'm trying to see what's going on.
Maybe don't. Hey, so if Buzelis is probably still going to be on the board. Either Buzelis or Dalton Connect is going to be on the board.
Yeah.
People like Dalton Connect.
People are,
the
look, there's a
Grizzlies.
lot of Tennessee fans that love Dalton Connect and would love to see him in the Grizzlies uniform.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
No.
Portland's going to have the next pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's who we thought.
So then Buzelis is the next one, and then Dalton Connect, Rob Dillingham. All right. Of those names, if the Grizzlies take somebody at 9, is there
Dalton.
somebody you prefer? Dalton
Dalton.
Connect? Mm-hmm. Dalton Connect?
Dalton Connect.
GBO.
SGC.
Say it right.
go. Hey, congrats to the Vols. Congrats to the Vols. College World Series.
Who cares?
Cool.
All right, so now, look, we know that Matis Buzelis is going to be at 9 or Dalton Connect is going to be at 9.
Yeah.
One or the other. If Klingon is going 7 to Portland, oh my gosh.
So who would San Antonio
Here, turn this
take
up
8?
if we can. Can we turn this up? Hear what Woj is going to say about Portland? We can't hear him.
Yeah.
Put the closed captions on one.
Yeah, closed captioning wouldn't be a bad idea.
Is that probably going to break our hearts about? He'd probably tell us the Grizzlies tried like hell to get
Yo,
up there.
hey, I ain't
get
gonna
him.
lie. That's one of the reasons why I ain't go to this right here, Chris. Cause just think if you don't get picked or you just gotta sit in this room and you keep dropping.
And the camera's on you.
Did you get
Camera
invited?
steady on
Did you
you.
get invited?
No, I ain't get invited. Man, I was.
And you said that's the reason.
Listen,
the
man.
reason you didn't go is
Man, I
because
was
you weren't
listen,
invited.
but just think though, I could just imagine for those guys. Palms are getting sweaty. You know what I'm saying? You probably felt like you played a whole game leaving out of there just so nervous. You get what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Big kudos to the ones that go to the green room, man.
The 7th pick is officially in. The
Oh,
NBA's
my
tweeted
God.
it out.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it for Donovan Klingon. I hate it for the Portland Trailblazers. So
The Portland Trailblazers select Donovan Klingon.
Boo! What they gonna do with him though? They gotta trade this pick.
hurt him like they do every other big man that's ever played there.
They do got a horrible strength and
Oh my-
conditioning staff, though.
it goes back to Bill Walton. Rest in peace.
Hey, they strength and conditioning staff is horrible.
Every big guy that's ever played in Portland's like had career-ending injuries.
That's. I mean.
That just blew
Send
it.
him to us. We want him.
That's a bummer.
That just blew
Who's San Antonio? Who's San Antonio going to take at 8?
I have no idea. I'd guess Buzelis.
So that means AC's kid's going to be available at 9.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You'd rather
I
him
would-
than Dalton?
I would love to take Carter. I would love to take Devin Carter at 9. I would. I don't care at this point.
End the show.
I don't care if it's high
Yeah.
for him. I just want a player that I think can play next year. Right? I want a guy that I feel like can play playoff minutes next year. I'm planning on the Grizzlies being awesome, planning on the Grizzlies being in the playoffs. Which of these guys do we think could play playoff minutes next year? If you wanted to argue Connect to me, I could buy it.
Connect
Because
would
he's
be more
23
offense.
years
He's
old.
older, so
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But he's a good offensive player. Devin Carter is a good defensive player. So, like, which one are you?
Devin Carter is also a role player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't. I don't think most people are saying this guy's going to be a star in the NBA.
Right.
The Grizzlies don't need a star. They've got stars.
No, we've got stars.
How do you fit in? And also, his dad is on staff.
His dad's in the green room too.
Great story.
Yeah, Dad is in the green room
It would
with
be
him.
an incredible story. So I think
It would be an
Look,
amazing
if you
story.
can't get Klingon, that's what I'm kind of rooting for. That would be an incredible story if you could get Carter at 9. Because other than that, I mean, I trade down and
big
try to
fella,
take.
big
The only
fella,
other
big
center that I wanted is Khalil Ware from Indiana.
And you don't have to stay at 9
And
to
you
get
gotta-
him.
You don't have to
Yeah,
take
you
him
don't have
9.
to take him
you
at
could
9.
trade. You could trade down and still get him later in the draft. So you might flip 9 and find somebody that's got 2 picks later. That's usually the way that works. If you are going to move down.
We've had no trades so far.
None. I do wonder, since they think it is low on as far as star power goes and all-star, all-NBA level players, if these teams that are trying to move up, the team's asking price is a little too much, that where the teams wanting to trade are like, yeah, okay, we're not going to go there with this. We're not going to go to that level with this.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe in years past, if you thought some of these guys were future all-stars, all-NBA level players, yeah, I'll throw in that extra pick, and then an extra pick swap. That would usually get it done.
Well, and I also think the hard part is if you are the Grizzlies and you're sitting there going, hey, we will give you future first-round picks. I mean, if I'm another GM, I'm going, well, hold on now. You should be good for the next 6 years.
Right.
So,
Right.
Like, what do I want with your first round
Your first round picks are going to be between 25 and 30.
Crap team.
Right. Your first round picks are going to be between 25 and 30. Like, what do I want that for?
Right. All right, so there it is. Now San Antonio, there's one pick left. There's one pick between Donovan Clingan and then obviously the Grizzlies. And whoever they are going to take 9th overall.
I've been seeing on the mock draft, they talking about Rob Dillingham going to the Spurs.
Oh, yeah?
You
Yeah,
just
I've been
take the
seeing
Kentucky guard.
I'll tell you this. You've just been able to close your eyes and take the Kentucky guard and you got a player.
I mean,
He's a bucket. He can score.
and that's what I said. He could fill it up. I'm talking about. I actually saw him at the combine in
You like
Chicago.
him? You want a little Jamal Crawford action here?
And I was looking at, I kind of sized him up. I was looking like
He's small, right?
yeah, I lock that shit up. I'm like, you can't get no bucket on me. But once you watch him on YouTube, I mean, he's electrifying. For real.
You thought he was too little?
Man, I had to size him up. I'm looking
I know.
like, come on, man.
He's listed at 6'3", so like,
No, he every bit of 6'1".
yeah.
Dillingham is?
Yeah, he had on some Prada shoes too, so I know I'm like, yo,
Do you like that or you don't like that? Yeah.
he got game though.
Yeah, he does have game. All right, there's Spurs headquarters. It looks electrifying in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's a party.
Aren't you supposed to have the clip of them all like high-fiving or something and hugging and whatever? That's what they always do at the NFL draft.
Pop looks like he just woke up.
Everybody starts.
Look at Tim Duncan.
Isn't that the way it works?
Tim Duncan's just standing over there in the other corner.
He just got through surfing.
Isn't it the way it works? Doesn't everybody start high-fiving and hugging
not
and
the
whatever?
Spurs,
Like,
no.
We got our guy.
Not the Spurs.
This is exactly the guy that we wanted.
That's a bad man right there, Victor Wembanyama. He a bad man, Chris Vernon.
He is.
They say this might be the worst season he gonna have in his career. Everything is up from here.
That's scary.
Yeah, he is.
All right,
scary.
what do we think
All right.
about the outfit, Tony?
There you go. There you go.
Do you like the outfit?
No, I mean some of these stylists should be fired. But who am I? It's the new millennium. These X, what they call them, X babies, Gen G, what they is?
I think it's Gen Z.
Yeah, Gen Z baby.
Yeah.
Zen G.
Yeah,
This
man.
dude said Zen G.
Whatever. I don't
Gen Z?
know. These guys.
You don't like the little bedazzled?
I like that
bro.
too.
Just give me a nice pinstripe, Dob hat, Gators.
Well, wait till you see Jared McCain's suit. He's wearing a little crop top.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
All right, here we go. We got the pick is going to be in.
It is in.
We need that.
They might draft overseas.
They.
San Antonio Spurs, they always go, unpredictable.
They sure have had the camera on Rob Dillingham a lot.
They have.
Yeah,
I feel like they may know something because they keep showing him on the camera. All right, here we go.
With the 8th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Rob Dillingham.
Congratulations.
Rightfully so, yeah.
However,
Kid.
Shams tweeted that they chose Rob
Congratulations.
Dillingham and he could be on the move to Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
They like that. People like
To
that.
the Wolves?
He could
What
be
you see?
on the move to Minnesota.
Who been traded?
They don't know yet.
All right, Rob Dillingham off the board. All right.
Oh, did Minnesota just get a boo?
Yeah,
Just as a whole?
Minnesota got a boo.
Okay.
All right, so where are we at? The 9th pick overall. Who do you want?
Hey.
You guys want Dalton Connect? You want Bazelis? No, he said no. Zach Edey? You want Devin Carter?
They like big fella from Purdue, huh? Okay then.
You like him, Tony?
I mean, he a force down in the paint, man. He just was the only guy dominating college basketball. I mean, it can carry over. I ain't mad at the pick if we get him. You know what I mean? But Zach got his hand full, man. Shout out to Zach. He our GM, man. That's our man. So we rolling with Zach, man.
Oh, it's official. Woj has tweeted it that Minnesota has traded for the 8th pick.
Who did they give up?
It doesn't say.
I want to know what they gave up.
So Minnesota is going to get Rob Dillingham and not San Antonio?
That's what Woj
Look at this kid
has
right here. This
reported.
kid is a bucket.
Yo, this is always the hard part, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, because you know they're sitting there analyzing it, going, how this is going to look with the inside out with Victor Wembanyama, and it's never going to take place. Kind of odd.
Hang time.
That's another guy that can make a play off the bounce besides Anthony Edwards in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Another guy that could go get a bucket.
Yeah,
they don't have anybody else that can go get a bucket.
You're right.
One guy. Right?
About that.
That's why they missed Mike Conley so bad even in the playoffs. You saw he's the only other guy that could dribble.
And you want Mike
penetrate.
Conley just to be controlling the tempo when we get a little sporadic. But as far as putting it on the floor,
Just
getting a bucket.
go get me a bucket.
Give me a bucket. It's only Anthony Edwards.
And
Yep.
Minnesota would hide his defensive concerns, like the best defensive
you're
team
right.
in the league.
Yeah.
So that was his one downfall, that he wasn't a great defender. Minnesota would
He's a bucket. There's no way around that.
bucket.
Guy can,
I remember when he was in high school at that little OTE thing. That's
Yep.
when I caught notice to him.
well, you know where he went before that?
Well,
Donda Academy, Kanye School.
He did. He did.
Went
go
to Donda?
He did. He did. Played for
she
the,
take my money when I'm in need.
the pick is in.
Oh my God!
What happened?
Oh, I know
Oh,
who it
yeah.
is.
What happened?
We're doing it. We're doing it.
It's picking
No.
Zach Edey.
We're doing
Okay,
it.
then.
We're doing it.
Shots.
We are doing it.
Oh, wow.
Shots.
Shout out Canada.
Grizz Nation, we did it. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Come on now, you can't act like he wasn't dominant in the college level of basketball, bro.
He's slow though.
Yeah, he's slow. But at this stage,
7'5".
come on now.
I got to talk myself into this one.
I don't know.
Wow. Are they really going to take Zach Edey? That is going to shock the world. Nobody has had him going 9.
No.
Nobody. Not one mock draft. And by the way, Edey's not at the draft.
No, he's not.
He declined.
Yeah, he declined. He's with friends and family.
Yeah.
We have what the
It's
Timberwolves
okay.
traded.
Huh?
Timberwolves.
Yeah, Timberwolves.
Traded 2031 unprotected first and a protected 2030.
Wow. They just got off it. Oh, boy. Yeah, so this is kind of crazy. If, in fact, the Grizzlies are going to take Zach Edey when Adam Silver announces this, what's going to be wild is that he's not at the draft,
Yeah.
which is odd because you would think that,
That almost never happens.
I mean, almost never happens because somebody says to the guy, you're not going to drop past this point.
Yeah.
You're not going to drop past this point in the draft.
Your agent?
No, I'm saying like a team or your agent, right? And so then you have the confidence to go to the draft because the team said, look, if you ain't making it past 9.
Yeah,
Right.
that's if you ain't making it
Here we go.
past 9.
Here we
go.
With the 9th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Zach Edey.
Oh, yes, sir. We did it. Memphis Grizzlies, stand up, baby. Zach Edey. B-Night, we did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Baby. Grizz Nation, Zach Edey, welcome him to the ball club.
He said, we did it.
Oh, he is so tall.
Now, this guy was so dominant in college, man. He was just dominant. There was no stopping him. Barbecue chicken every time he got the ball. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Historically
CV.
dominant. 2-time National Player of the Year.
Listen, Josh's gonna make this guy look like a star, man. Trust me.
I will say, if you do go and look up who wins the Naismith Player of the Year award in college basketball, who has won it, those guys typically, like, they have careers, like, they end up being good
7'3".
He's done it twice.
He's done it back-to-back years.
Tell Frank Mason.
7'3", big fella.
Oh, wow. Wait, not Sean Bradley and George Buras.
Yeah, I'm cool with the Arvydas Sabonis. Like, Arvydas Sabonis is cool.
There he is.
Yo.
You wanted a big guy, you got the biggest guy. He is
Interior
the biggest.
productivity.
You got the biggest guy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, my God. I can't believe this.
This is another guy that I covered in high school. It's kind of cool.
I can't believe it. I am in absolute shock that this is the way this played out, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, we good.
I
man.
never thought that they would take somebody 9, and I certainly thought if they took somebody 9, it would not. I did not think it would be
I won.
Zach Edey.
Trust me.
You
trust
did.
me. He gonna love it down here, man. He gonna love these honey gold chicken wings, good barbecue. Hey, we gonna show him some love down here. Trust me. We gonna. And I'm talking about he's only getting better each year.
25
Since a freshman.
and 12
See
in
this?
college basketball is
Each year
crazy.
he got better, man. Each year. So, yeah, man. We got a force in the middle.
Unbelievable. Are you guys happy with Zach Edey? Zach Edey!
Zach Edey.
The idiots. We are now the idiots.
I'm an idiot.
I'm an idiot.
Stop screaming that.
Wow. Wanted a big guy, got the biggest guy. I am in shock disbelief.
Wow.
Polished, back to the basket game, soft touch
we
at the
got a
rim.
Yao Ming. We got a Yao Ming. You right about that, buddy.
Oh my God. All right, we're going to switch this thing out. Thank you, Tony.
Much love, man. Grizz
Thank
Nation,
you,
stand
Rosa.
up.
Thank
Much
you,
love,
Kelsey
man.
Wright Johnson. Jessica Benson, Brevin Knight, Zach Randolph, and the whole crew. They're going to be coming up here in a minute. Thanks for coming out to our draft show. The draft's going to continue. We're going to switch this studio out.
emotional roller coaster for a hot second with
Sure.
some reporting that perhaps the Grizzlies were going to trade up and get Donovan Clingan at 6 from the Charlotte Hornets. That does not happen. The Hornets keep their picks. The Portland Trailblazers end up taking Donovan Clingan, and by the time you get to 9 for the Grizzlies, Zach Edey is the guy for them. What was your reaction, Eric?
Well, I think everybody believed that they were going to the Hornets with a lot of offers, and the problem with trades is it needs 2 to tango. So you can't just assume because you have an offer that you think the Hornets should take and that they seemingly should take that they're going to take it. So by all accounts, offers were made. Nothing came to fruition. They've known about Zach Edey, obviously, as a potential fit for a while. We heard all the reports that he had met with the Grizzlies at the pre-draft camps, all these things. He talked about it publicly, Brevin, and when you know a team wants you, you know you fit that need. And let's talk about what the absence of Steven Adams meant, especially from a former point guard position. When you can set a screen the size of a Winnebago and open up for one of the quickest players in the league, this guy's beyond a Winnebago. He might be the size of a continent. He's huge, and he does roll to the basket. You and I talked about him, his athleticism growing into his body. He's a multiple sport youth athlete. He didn't just play basketball. He played baseball. He played goalie in hockey. So he's got those twitch muscles, which a lot of young players these days don't always have because they've specified one sport. So I like that about him. I thought he got better this year. 2-time AP Player of the Year. I know that's college, but size is something you can't teach. And 7'4", 300 pounds, as long as the wear and tear on the body is not going to take its toll too early on, I think this could be a great fit for the Grizzlies, for someone that's not going to demand the ball, that's going to take up a lot of the paint, let Jaren roam to the perimeter, and now you can see what he can do at the professional level.
Well, the thing is, I like it because he's also, most times when you get guys this high in a draft pick, it's guys you're going to wait on. This kid he went 4 years of college, and every year he got better. And how he got better was in his athleticism, his side-to-side move, lateral movement, his defensive side, being able to play pick and roll defense in multiple ways. And on the offensive end, he just got better and better at being able to score, whether it's back to the basket, facing up, or whether it's in pick and pop and pick and roll situations. And so you like to see kids continue to get better every year. And if this Grizzlies team, we talk about winning a championship next year. It's not winning a championship in 3 seasons.
Right.
Because of the core that they already have, they just need to add pieces around it. It's nice to get a guy who may not be a veteran in the NBA, but he's a veteran in basketball that can come to this team and help them continue to move forward. So I think it's a great pick to help you win right now and continue to play to win now, not just mix and match and see if it's a piece that fits for later on down the road.
Right, the window is right here, obviously, with John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bane all signed, all in their prime, and coming back for well, knock on wood, we'll cross some fingers, healthier season next year than what we experienced here in Memphis. But I think one of the more interesting things about Zach Edey has been his attempts to prove he is more than just his size. And if you watched college basketball this season, so much would get stuck on, oh, well, of course he's able to get all these boards. Of course he's able to have finishes inside. He's bigger than everyone on the court. He cut down the nets after one of the games in the tournament.
In Detroit.
And did not have to get on a ladder.
No, did not.
He is that tall of a man. But what he brings as a screener, what he brings with the touch of a passer, and those are the things where when you're thinking about what was lost from Steven Adams, it's not just the size, it's not just the rebounding, it's the screens, it's the passing. And perhaps you find someone in Zach Edey who can at least help give you some of that early on.
If you watch that Purdue team, they always had somebody else step up, and he was a big reason why those people stepped up. And listen, anytime you talk about these guys, you're going to see highlight reels. You're going to see everybody super positive. We happened to land in Detroit right after Purdue won the Elite Eight.
2024
so several
NBA draft.
Let's go to the board.
Oh, let's take a quick break for the Bulls pick.
Matis Buzelis
Good
from
pick.
Chicago. And the
Matis
NBA
Buzelis fell a little further than expected. A lot of people thought it was a done deal that the Detroit Pistons would be taking Matis Buzelis. Alas, they take Ron Holland, who was an interesting selection in that just a year ago, he would have been considered the number 1 pick in this draft, had a bit of a complicated season with the G League Ignite team, but now you have Matis Buzelis falling here.
Long, athletic, good player. We'll get to that in a sec. Just going back to what we were just talking about. So we get to Detroit, Purdue advances. There's a ton of Purdue fans at our team hotel. I don't know if you remember this or not. I always judge when people talk about people how closely the stories relate. You can tell me a guy's a great guy, but inevitably someone's going to come up, yeah, don't believe all the hype. There was not one person, and we talked to several, we saw their Boilermaker stuff. They were obviously celebrating going to the Final Four. What they said about Zach Edey was not only, yeah, great player, obviously 26 points a game, double-digit rebounds, but the willingness to work, the willingness to be a part of a team, the willingness to be a good teammate, to be productive, not only on the court, off the court, with their program to help it grow. That was what they were most impressed with. Obviously, the man is huge at 7'4". He's a great player. You're not the two-time player of the year if you're not. But the comments on his character were what stood out to me, and I think that speaks volumes to why he probably moved up the board.
Well, listen, high character. The other thing is what we've missed since Marc Gasol, since not having Steven Adams, since not having Valanciunas was you didn't have a big on the floor to be able to initiate any type of offense for this Grizzlies team. And it forced players to have to play out of position the entire year. So what it allows this team to do again is throw the ball to a big and there be movement for this Grizzlies team.
Sure.
The thing that what you like about it also is on the defensive side, now your outlet passes or blocks start transition points that we are able to see John Morant get out and play in fast break basketball. So I think it's a perfect fit for a team that still wants to win right now.
He shot 127 more free throws than any other player in college basketball this year, and he shot at a 70% clip from the free throw line. One of those guys who has shown that he could have the potential to have a better shot, continue to work on his shot, and if he does develop more as a shooter, then that opens up things in an even other direction. He was also somebody who it was so necessary to be on the floor for Purdue. He could never foul because they couldn't risk him getting in foul trouble and fouling out. You put him in a situation here, perhaps he has a little bit more to give inside and doesn't have to be so concerned.
But the thing was, they still played him heavy minutes, and he didn't get in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Like that's something that you say, you like to have someone, if you're going to play a lot of minutes, then be out on the floor and be able to be productive and not have to be on a yo-yo. He didn't have to ever have to be on a yo-yo with that team.
And let's be honest about it. When he gets there, there are going to be nights where the game looks a little fast for him because he's a rookie. Because that is what happens. You experience that. Everybody that has played in the NBA has experienced that night where you're like, oh, wow, this is what it truly is really about. And that's going to happen. It's going to be a long-term judgment to me throughout the season to see how he develops. Where he is day one as opposed to where he is game 60 will say a lot about what he's put in. And by all accounts, this young man puts the work in, and that's all you can ask for.
By the Grizzlies taking Zach Edey with the 9th pick, do you think that this changes how they approach any pursuing of a veteran center with some of the market that's out there in free agency?
I wouldn't have a problem if they pursued somebody in particular. I don't want to talk about names, but there's a couple out there that we know, and we've heard some reports today. But I don't think it would be a bad thing to bring a veteran in to teach him the ropes, someone who has worked his way into a role, someone who has gone through the trials and tribulations of being a player not a lot of people knew about. Obviously, people know about Zach Edey, but figuring out what it took to be successful on the NBA level, and I think you have some assets to make those moves happen possibly.
Well, as long as it doesn't cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because what this did is it solidified a need and someone who can play the position for years to come. There are now other positions that you would like to be able to spend money on to continue to enhance this basketball team. So yes, if you can go out and get a veteran that's not going to cost you a lot, go out and get you a veteran. But to me, I'm pushing to see him play as much and as quickly as possible so that those other roles can be filled by this team.
I think we had some reporting from earlier today, both Shams and Woj, saying that Nick Claxton, following the big blockbuster of Mikal Bridges going to the Knicks for all the picks last night, but that Nick Claxton is nearing plans to sign a 4-year, $100 million deal to return to the Nets. There's a lot of rumblings about Isaiah Hartenstein maybe taking less of a deal to stay with the New York Knicks. They were able to shore up OG Anunoby earlier tonight. What was your response to that? That was the biggest story going into this draft, and it felt like there was so much energy towards what both the Knicks did and then also the Nets going full, opening the tank up and diving right into tanking for the next couple of years.
So the biggest thing to me is what the Knicks have done. The New York Knicks have squarely put themselves in being a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. Now, it still stands to be seen what happens with the Philadelphia 76ers and what if they're able to get Paul George in their mix. But you look at they're able to bring back the Villanova Wildcat championship teams, pretty much, but they brought back guys who all have the same mentality. That's what made the Knicks be good across the board, whether it was size, no size. the tenacity at which they played, they added someone who had that same mentality, but also brings more skill and size to their wing position. So I think they just signing OJ Anunoby, being able to get Bridges, just puts them in a position of being almost the second best team in the Eastern Conference right now.
And let's not forget, they made that run with Julius Randle sitting in street clothes.
Yes,
so
exactly.
They get a combo, a 6'9" guy that can do a little bit of everything, score off the bounce, rebound, do all that fun stuff. So I think the biggest thing to me was also what Houston was looking to do to try to make a move to possibly bring in a big name, whether that's Kevin Durant, whether that's Devin Booker, whoever it may be that they try to set their sights on with Phoenix. They're trying to take that next step forward. So that's going to be the interesting thing to me. Them getting Reed Shepherd, that's a shooter, that's a backup to Fred VanVleet, however that works out, or maybe that's part of the deal. Maybe that's part of the package that they ship off. We'll know more as these things go along, and obviously with all the free agency stuff starting up soon, it's kind of difficult to talk about it. But it's a little surprising to me at this stage of this night that we haven't seen more trades.
Yes.
With the
We have
12th
Oklahoma
pick in the
City's pick is in.
2024 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Nikola Topic from Belgrade, Serbia, and Serbia's Savina.
Nikola Topic, very interesting from a guy who was projected to be a top 5 pick, tore his ACL about a month ago. So going into the draft process, fell a little bit, someone who's not going to be ready and available at the beginning of the next season. Before we get to Pete Pranica, who's awaiting at FedEx Forum, thoughts on the Thunder, a team that made a nice run in the postseason, was the number 1 seed coming out of the Western Conference, has a lot of exciting young pieces, but going with a player who will not be ready at the beginning of next year.
Well, the other thing is, though, they made a big deal with getting Alex Caruso. They moved Giddey on, and they bring in Caruso. So you solidify yourself on the defensive side, but you still have size on the floor. And as you said, not ready to play. This team has been okay with having enough young guys to be able to play, and when another one is ready, be able to step into this position. So I think this fits their mold for what they've been doing for years past, and as they move forward, there'll be other pieces that'll step in and be bigger than this, but this is just another stash down the road, see what happens.
Give Shai Gilgeous-Alexander some opportunity to maybe not play as many minutes. They moved Vasily Micic to Charlotte at the trade deadline. That was the guy they had hoped that would come in and fill those minutes. It didn't happen.
All right, let's get out to Pete Pranica, who is at FedEx Forum with the Grizzlies tonight. Pete, what was the response? Oh, never mind. We are going to Mike Wallace, who is in Brooklyn at the draft tonight. Mike, I'll ask you the same exact thing I was going to ask Pete. Response to the Grizzlies taking Zach Edey with that number 9 pick.
Hey, Jess, you know, there's not a
You've
bigger
been on
Zach
it.
Edey fan in Memphis. There's not a bigger Zach Edey proponent and a guy who really wanted to see him show what he can do than me. I've said it from day one. I said that this guy was going to trend towards being a top pick in the lottery, and I said that he brings everything that you need if you're looking for a center. Forget how the game is being played in terms of trends. Sometimes you just have to dictate what you can dictate. There's not a better player, 2-time college player of the year. He can rebound, he can block shots, he can control the paint. He's a massive screen setter. So you focus on what he can do, not on the 1 or 2 things that he can't do. And Zach Edey said that the team that picks him will be picking him for what they see in him and not for what they don't. And the Grizzlies, credit to them for doing that. He's going to be a fantastic addition to this team, and we'll see how he develops.
I will say, for anyone who missed it, Mike Wallace has been on the Zach Edey train since coming right out of the national championship game, identifying him as a potential person that the Grizzlies could be looking after. So I know this one felt a little extra sweet for you, Mike. What was the response of people around the draft? Outside of you, how was the conversation around the Grizzlies with this pick?
It was shocking. It was shocking. There was 300 reporters and media members and team members in the room downstairs. I was just off the floor when the pick went in, and it was kind of like, whoa, you got Zach Edey at number 9. So there's going to be some polarization in terms of the reaction to it. However, having said that, again, what this guy brings in terms of a resume, the Grizzlies identified they wanted a big. They couldn't get Klingon. He went 2 spots ahead of their spot. And so they went to the next guy that they love. And, Zach Edey is a guy that can fill a lot of those voids. So, we'll see what it means. Zach will be coming to Memphis to speak for himself. I had a chance to talk to him in Chicago. And, I know what he's looking forward to. And I know how much of a fit he looks forward to being alongside Jaren Jackson Jr. and some of the things that the Grizzlies can do.
Mike Wallace, what's going on, my brother? Good to see you.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Brad?
Quick question for you. How much do you think Zach Edey can help this team right away?
I mean, right away, yes. He can stand in the paint and rebound. He can block shots. I'm not saying he's going to be on the floor in the final 10 minutes of the game or final 5 minutes of the game. You know, that's going to be predicated by matchups. What he's going to be able to do, though, is take the physical matchup, take some of that pressure off of Jaren Jackson Jr. and some of the other frontline guys. And we'll still see. The Grizzlies may still bring in some front court help in the trade route or free agency. So there's still other moves that can be made. But this is a foundational guy. He compared himself to Jonas Valanciunas and Steven Adams and Ivica Zubac. He said those three guys are his best NBA comps, and that's how he's coming into the game, coming into the league looking to do. Two of those three guys played for Memphis alongside Jaren Jackson Jr. So the formula is there, and I think you can throw it into Zach Edey immediately, and he can get you some buckets. Not a 30-minute-a-game player, 20, 25 minutes, and then you use him in situations beyond that.
See, and I like what you brought up, partner, because I think the Ivica Zubac thing, that is a guy to me that has always been underrated. The fact he looks at his game being a complementary piece to all those superstars with the Clippers, but accepting the role and thriving in that role, to me, he is one of the biggest puzzle pieces in that Clipper picture. When he is not on the floor for them, that is a different team. Everybody will always talk about Paul George. Everybody will always talk about Kawhi Leonard. Everybody will always talk about James Harden, Russell Westbrook. But when Zubac is out and not available for the Clippers, they are a different team.
They are a different team, and we saw it. We called it in those Clippers games. And the fact that, Zach Edey is comparing himself to sort of those guys tells you where his mentality is. He knows he's not going to come in and get 20, 30 touches.
In the 2024 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Devin Carter from Providence College.
AC's son.
Devin Carter.
Man,
son
listen,
of
he
AC.
is. It's crazy.
Nice.
Think about him and the kid from Baylor
Yeah.
playing together on the same back. What's the kid from the backcourt?
Jacoby Walter?
No. That
Eve
play-
Messi?
No,
Oh.
Aaron
the
Fox?
guard.
Oh.
The guard from Baylor?
Yes, that plays in the backcourt is in Sacramento right now. That comes off of the bench.
I know who you're
Oh,
talking
I know.
about. Davion Mitchell.
Davion Mitchell.
Yes, Davion Mitchell.
I thought they might be.
I know.
Sorry.
Like, geez, you got come on,
I
help
just
me
looked
out
at you like
here.
you were crazy.
But listen, imagine those two playing ever out on the floor with one another, getting after guards in the backcourt.
Yeah, that's a nice defensive combination right there. It's a question of when does De'Aaron Fox come off the floor?
And Devin Carter, one of those guys who just such a good rebounder. Like when you're starting to do research of potential options for the Grizzlies at that 9 pick, obviously the connection with his father made some semblance of sense, but just the fact that in terms of things the Grizzlies need, rebounding, and to get that from a guard like Devin Carter, someone who has such maturity and showed just a true being one of those, we say it too often this time of year, but a true dog on the court is exactly what Devin Carter was.
Very happy for him.
A big thanks to...
I would say AC now can say that his son has done something. And one said, hey, your son looked good. He goes, he hasn't done nothing
AC
yet.
never,
He just got drafted.
Boy, he never.
Keeping him honest.
Every now and then he'll crack a little smile about
Yeah,
something.
sure will, sure
every
will.
now and then.
That's how you
Mike
always
leave
know.
us?
I think Mike left us,
Mike
but we
left us.
appreciate Mike joining us from Brooklyn. I do believe we have Pete Pranica now joining us from FedEx Forum. Pete, how is it over at FedEx Forum, and what was the response like as the Grizzlies take Zach Edey with the number 9 pick in this year's draft?
Well, I'm here at the Caesars Sportsbook Lounge with Pinnacle Financial Partners and some of their customers tonight. We're thrilled to have them. It was kind of an emotional roller coaster because there was some hope that the Grizzlies might be able to move up and get Klingon earlier in the draft. But overall, I think there's a sense of, hey, Zach Edey is going to be good. He's a big physical presence. Last year, when you look at the Grizzlies, what was one of their biggest weaknesses? It was offensive rebounding. It was second chance points. They were last in the league. But without Steven Adams and without BC, they just didn't have a chance on the offensive glass. Zach Edey averaged 5 offensive rebounds per game for Purdue last year. He's big, he's physical. Is he the second coming of Steven Adams? No, I don't think he's there yet, but he will compete on the glass. He's good on putbacks, good on tip-ins, and also tip-out rebounds as well. He's a physical presence that the Grizzlies didn't really have last year. The other thing defensively for the Grizzlies, and Brevin, we talked about this a lot last year on the telecast, the Grizzlies very often play drop coverage. That is the type of defensive coverage that Zach Edey specializes in. So I think defensively he's going to be a good fit for the Grizzlies, despite the fact that he may not be the most athletic guy in the world. So I think he's a good fit there. Decent shooter. And we get to say, shout out Canada all over again. And our telecast will be very, very highly rated in China as well. I think it's a good pick. Would he have been available later in the first round? Possibly. But I think the Grizzlies were very happy to get him at number 9 at the completion of the first round. Zach Kleiman's going to have a media availability. I'll be very interested to see what his take on the evening was. Gigi Jackson has been here. He's been visiting with the people from Pinnacle Financial Partners. And when the pick was announced, he was very enthusiastic about it. And part of the reason was Ja Morant, more than anything else on his wish list, he wanted the Grizzlies to draft a big. And they got the biggest big there is in this NBA draft.
Absolutely, Pete. Thank you. And I think it wasn't just on Josh's wish list. It was on Jaron's wish list. It was on Desmond Bain, who's already tweeted out a let's go on the wish list. Brandon Clark spoke about it. I think this was obviously a need for the Grizzlies, and they fill it with that number 9 pick with Zach Edey. We appreciate you. There were some cheers going around here as Zach Randolph joins the table. Zebo, welcome, welcome. All right, Zebo. Zach Edey era in Memphis. What do you think about it?
I like him, big fella. Great hands, he's gonna do good. He's gonna get a lot of alley hoops, a lot of at the rims, a lot of offensive rebound. But not only that, he got a good knack for the ball. You know, he got great hands, and he can score. You know, got a good touch around the rim. So he's gonna do real good. I think that pick we picked was a great pick.
I got a question for you. You played alongside another physical big, Marc Gasol.
Whoa.
Ooh. How much does that alleviate some of the pressure off of that power forward position when you have a center who can play with the size that Zach Edey can play with?
It relieves a lot. Like you said, it gives guys like Jaren give him more space to operate, and Brandon. So with a guy like that can control everything in the paint, especially on the defensive end, it'll make the game a lot easier for the other guys.
When you look at him, because you played with two of the best passing big men to ever set foot on an NBA court, Arvydas Sabonis, Marc Gasol. You also would tap the hip and say, give me the ball, get out of the way. And you know some guys are there too, so we'll hear the pick here.
Bub Carrington from the University of Pittsburgh.
Bub Carrington going to the Trailblazers, their second pick of the night after Donovan Clingan.
So for Zach, how important is it going to be to learn how to pass at the NBA level as opposed to college? College is so much zone, matchup type stuff. The NBA's got the zone, but more we're going to defend you with athleticism, recognizing double teams. For a big man, the scale of development, like how long does it take a young player generally to figure that out?
For Zach, I think the program he come from, I think he adapt quick. Like you said, to the double teams, to seeing the open spot on the floor before the double team even comes. So I think with that, he's going to adapt pretty well, pretty fast.
Keeping the Zachs alive in the front court in Memphis as we go from one Zach to another Zach at this point. But as you've watched the league continue to change, and particularly the West, size matters in this conference, absolutely. And for the Grizzlies to continue being competitive, it feels as if trying to continue to bolster their size along with Jaren and Brandon Clark was such an influential piece of this decision-making. What do you make of this kind of renaissance of bigs in the West and around the NBA at this point?
I think like what you said, you need a big. You don't need bigs to win. You look at Denver with Jokic. You look at the the other teams. That got great bigs. So you always gonna need a big, and a big, especially like him, that can score the ball. Not only that, can anchor the defense and can cause a lot of difficulties down there in the paint on the defensive end.
Well, another thing, this season, a lot of injuries this year. You were around in Washington. One of the bright spots this season was your Michigan State brother going out and taking another step on the offensive end. Talk about how you watched Jaren continue to grow in his game on both ends of the floor.
Well, I see Jaren, man. Jaren's, like you said, both ends of the floor. Just watching him grow every season and seeing how this year, how he was in the paint more and made a focus to play in the paint and get easy baskets because he could score in the paint and he could shoot the ball as well. So I think with a player like that has so many weapons, with him, he's learning how to use them and be effective at times when he need to be. He know how to get in the paint when he need to score, and he shooting an open shot when you leave him open. So I think he's adapting well with that.
You were a one and done. Jaren was a one and done. Ja 2. Dez was a 4-year guy. Zach Edey's a 4-year guy. Being a 4-year guy, I know that wasn't you, but what do you think that does to help a player develop when you can continue to grow your game in college rather than, because you knew it. When you were 19, you got thrown right into the fire. It's a whole big world out there. It's a lot to put on a young man's plate right out of the gate.
Well, I can tell you, as a 4-year player, when you become a pro.
You were from Stanford?
Yeah, Zach didn't go 4 years. He don't know how hard
I know,
it
but
is.
I'm saying from his
he was
perspective.
too good to go 4 years. All of his other people got to go 4 years.
You still got in the
Zebo
lottery.
Just 1 year.
You still got in the lottery.
Like you said, with that being Zach stayed at college for 4 years, he's more mature as a player. Like you said, me coming in, leaving after my freshman year, I still had a lot of stuff to learn coming into the NBA, and that I would have learned probably if I would have stayed at Michigan State with Coach Izzo for 4 years. So definitely more mature and know the game well, and it helps.
All right, so we're with 2 former first-round picks at this table. Eric Hasseltine and I will never know what it is like to hear our names called on a draft night. But I'll go to both of you, and Zebo, I'll start with you. What was your draft night like? Like, what do you remember from it?
My draft night, man, I was in my neighborhood. Everybody was out. We had a party when my name got drafted.
I'm not sure you remember a lot about the party, do you?
Yeah, we had a party.
No, we had a party. That's all we're going to leave it at. What about you, BK?
Well, shucks. I was fortunate to be there. I was unfortunate to be one of the last ones to still be there.
Had to sit through
What's that like?
It's not fun. It's not fun, but the good thing is that that opportunity to walk across, and for me it was to shake David Stern's hand, was a lot of fun, and then it was enjoyable. We partied, just not with everybody in that way, but I had a lot of my family who was there and was around, and so it was enjoyable to still be able to celebrate with your family, enjoy going through it, but to shake David Stern's hand was a highlight for me.
Well, and it's one of those things we haven't touched on from the Zach Edey side of it. There was some thought that perhaps the Grizzlies wouldn't be taking him at 9th, or any team, because he didn't go to the green room. He chose to stay home and watch the draft with his family and friends, and by making the choice not to go to the green room, like you said, Brevin, sometimes if you're sitting there and either you're one of the later picks in the first round or you don't end up getting taken in the first round, it's excruciating to watch. From a personal standpoint, watching players on TV when that happens,
yes.
you're rooting for them to get picked at that point. But I think it's interesting from Zach Edey, who will now be celebrating with family and friends tonight in his own environment.
Well, the thing I like about it is he's not about the fanfare for him.
Yes.
It's just about the work. Whoever's going to get me is going to get a basketball player. Somebody's going to come in and do their job on both ends of the floor, understands how to play the game. Eric talked about what type of character he has, and I think this just builds on what that character is and what it says about him. So for me, I like the fact that he just wants to stay at home, same way, enjoy it with the people that have rooted him on, the people that have gotten him to this point. And then when it's time to get here, he'll be on the plane tonight, or tomorrow morning. He'll be here tomorrow, and then we'll continue to move forward. But I am extremely excited about this pick, and I like it because I don't have to look 2 years down the road and say, who did we get? I know exactly who we got and what he can do to help this team.
And the exact fit in the now is so big for a team that wants to compete now. I found it interesting as we were watching the reporting around the Houston Rockets, and the word constantly used is now. They want to win now. But the Grizzlies are in a better position on paper to do just that, and now having a player like Zach Edey come. Zebo, I'm curious for you, was it a choice to not go to the green room? Like, how did it work in 2001? Were you invited to be at the draft and chose to stay home?
I didn't get invited.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Oops.
Their loss.
Like B said, just having all your family there, and the people that you came up with, and the people that sacrificed with you, and seeing what you go through to get to where you was at that special moment, I wouldn't change it for the world.
How big a whirlwind is it now for them? Like you said, Brad, they're going to get on a flight, they're going to come meet the media, they're going to start getting workouts in. When you step foot into that first summer league game, not just practice, game, and you're facing somebody else, is that the moment, or is the moment not till training camp?
Well, I think for me, the moment was training camp, because in the summer, you're still playing against the same dudes you was playing against in college. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you know who has spots.
And you know who has spots, but I also know exactly what they do. Now, when it got real was when we got to training camp. And I got to training camp, and now I'm playing against grown men who have been doing this a long time. And still in my head, I'm still a cocky kid who still believes he's better than anybody on the floor.
What's changed?
No, nothing. I still believe that. I might not be, but I still believe it. I think when you got to training camp is when it hit me like I'm in the NBA. When I walked in the locker room, I saw Sean Kemp's name on the locker, and my name was right next to it, is when I realized I was in the NBA.
What about you, Zebo?
For me, I wanted to, because I went 19th, so I felt like I was supposed to be a top 5 pick, and I felt like I was one of the best players
With
in
the
the
15th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Miami Heat select Khalil Ware from Indiana University.
Khalil Ware, one of the
Moved up quickly.
many names that moved up, had a great draft, everything leading up, all the workouts, everything that you heard about this kid. Great motor, one of the potential big man that the Grizzlies could have been targeting. Obviously, they end up going with Zach Edey in this case. Zebo, did you know that Portland was had you had conversations with Portland? How did that work for you? Having thought that you were going to be a top 5 pick and then falling to Portland, how did those conversations go?
I mean, I just felt like I was one of the best players, but I was a little rough around the edges, so I failed in 19. So, but you know, that's what God wanted. Yeah. That's what God had planned, and I was thankful. But for the summer league, I went out and dominated. I was MVP of the summer league. I killed everybody that was drafted before me, so I had to make a statement. You know what I mean? So that's what I did coming out.
Do you remember anyone particularly from that summer league where you're like, I want to go prove a point against this guy?
Man, shoot, all of them, from Amari Stoudemire to everybody that was playing in the summer league, the first, second-year players. Because I was like MVP 2 years in a row, I think. So I was on a mission.
Where was y'all summer league? Where'd y'all?
Salt Lake City.
Mine was at Moody Bible Institute in Atlanta, bro.
Oh.
You guys never did the Long Beach State one?
No, bro. I'm trying to think, like, you know how, like, now we got everybody goes to Vegas.
Yeah.
We had, like, when I was playing, there was about 4 different summer leagues
there
that
was
you were playing.
Boston, there was
Orlando,
there was Rocky Mountain Review.
Yeah, there was never like
Chicago,
the one place where everybody went
Long
to.
Beach had one.
Yeah, so it would be.
I played in the Long Beach one.
So for me, it was. I didn't even get a chance. I wanted to play against Chauncey Billups. I really wanted to play against Antonio McDaniels because, number one, I never knew who he was until he got drafted. When he got drafted, and I'm like, bro, like, who is this dude? So then I looked him up, and then we played. I was like, oh, okay, he's real good. But I wanted to play against I'm like Zebo. Any point guard that went before me, I wanted to play against that year.
Yeah. Be interesting to see if the schedule makers put Edey and Connect against each other in the summer league.
Or Edey and Klingon.
Klingon, sorry.
Yeah, we can get a repeat of the
Klingon,
national championship game.
That would make sense, right?
That would be fun.
That would be one to watch. That would be one of those that gets the gym absolutely full in that situation. I'll ask all of you, because I think that there is a level of forgottenness when it comes to the Memphis Grizzlies, and as we start seeing lists come out from contenders and players to watch, this is a what have you done for me lately kind of league,
yes.
But the Grizzlies are prepared to be right back in contention in the West next year, and obviously this pick of Zach Edey helps bolster and addresses a need that they had. What do you think is the biggest thing that people are underlooking with the Memphis Grizzlies as we go through this summer? And it's a long way before we get to the next season. We'll have summer league, we'll have camp, all of that. But Eric, where do you think people have a blind spot for Memphis right now?
It's funny to me that I heard some national pundits say that one of the most disappointing teams last year were the Grizzlies. And It's like, did you not pay attention to the injury report every single night?
They did not.
And then seeing in 5 nights you lose 5 guys that are getting you minutes. So really I think that the narrative now will be, what will this big man do? It's a surprise pick to a lot of people. How does this help Ja? Where will Ja be after the shoulder injury? I think it's starting, all the other stuff is being put behind them. Jaren's development, now how does that impact Ja? What other moves did they make? I think that will dictate the narrative moving forward. But this team had one of the top offenses before the injury-plagued season last year, but yet still with the injury-plagued season last year, their defense was still good. Even though at times it looked like it struggled, by the numbers, with all the analytics, they were still up there. So I think if you add another presence defensively that helps Jaren be even better defensively, you're going to know you have a good defense. Where does the offense go? How does the offense get back to where it was 2-3 years ago as opposed to last year?
Well, I think the thing that's been forgotten is the greatness of Ja Morant. That's what's been forgotten. And because he wasn't around for that season, we've started to talk about all of these other guys in the NBA. And the one thing that I look forward to is this Grizzlies team kind of goes back to where they were 3 years ago, where nobody talked about it. Nobody gave them a chance. And then from there, 3-4 years, and they just continue to get better, and they continue to win. So I expect to see this team go back to that same mindset of we haven't done anything yet. And with that same mindset and with that same energy, put themselves right back into the conversations that they're not in right now. But a lot of it will be because of the greatness of that young man and his fire that he brings to the floor on a nightly basis. And people will quickly be reminded, as they were last season when the first game he came back, it's the game winner in New Orleans to win it. The 9 games he plays, we go 7-2. And so when he gets back on the floor at a regular pace, to go along with Dez's advancement, to go along with what Jaren was able to do, and whatever other pieces go around it, but that one piece right there will quickly remind people what Memphis Grizzlies basketball is.
Is there something, too, after the 2 number 2 seeds, they became the hunted rather than the hunters? You guys both experienced teams that went to a very high level. You knock off San Antonio with the 8th seed, and they're the 1 seed. The next year, I remember vividly, teams were not overlooking the grit and grind Grizzlies. They were coming. They knew they were going to be in for a fight. They knew it was going to be tough. They knew they were going to go home sore. It wasn't going to be a 110, 105 shootout. You were coming in for a street fight, and you didn't have the bullies to fight that fight against the people the Grizzlies were putting out there. But you knew you were getting everybody's best. You became a benchmark win.
Yeah, that's right. Like you said, just underlooking. But like what B said, Ja coming back next year, so that changes everything. You know what I mean? He's coming back. He's healthy, and not only that, he got a chip on his shoulder. And I feel like with him being out, the guys, the injuries, with Brandon coming back, with everybody coming back healthy, but not only that, you got Gigi, you got the young players that got a lot of chance to get a lot of experience this year and got a lot much better, got a lot better. So them guys that got the chance to play, the young guys got a chance to play the season, got better. So everybody got better and everybody healthy. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, in a season that was so challenging, those bright spots like Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams, 2 guys that had everything gone perfectly right, we might not have never known what the Grizzlies had in each of them. And going on the Ja piece of it, it was so wonderful to see him out at his kids camp this past weekend, where over 600 kids in this area came out, all in their Ja ones, some of them wanted to catch a lob from Ja, which went just about as you would expect from some young kid, but a memory they'll remember for the rest of their lives. And just the smile on his face and the smile on everyone's face, and even y'all immediately cheering for Ja. Like, this city has not forgotten. The rest of the NBA might have forgotten what Ja Morant is to the Memphis Grizzlies, but nobody here in Memphis has forgotten for a single second.
No, and they never will. And I think that's the one thing that people around the league, even going through the turmoil that we went through, the people of Memphis never ever wavered in terms of their support for Ja Morant. That never stopped, and it never will stop. We all understand we're all young guys at a certain point. We all make mistakes as we're coming up. But the one thing is the bigness of his heart, what he loves most is this city. He loves being back home, and he loves these kids and the people. And so I think that comes through on a nightly basis with how he plays the game, but with how he also carries himself with the interactions that he has. And so I think he is going to be welcome back.
Trade to announce.
Got a trade.
As part of a deal to be finalized later, the Portland Trailblazers are trading to the Washington Wizards the draft rights to Bub Carrington, the 14th pick.
That's it? You interrupted me for that?
That was underwhelming.
And with the 16th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Jared McCain from Duke University.
I love Jared McCain, man.
He can score.
Is one of the most enjoyable players to listen to watch.
Yes.
He's on his TikTok, but he knows. I was listening to an interview earlier where one of the quickest things he learned was never do a TikTok after a loss.
Yeah.
I was like, you get it. You understand it.
And he loves to dance.
And he's good at it. But he's such just a light of a personality. and now going to the Philadelphia 76ers. When it comes to the Sixers, we talked about it a little bit earlier with the news of the Knicks getting better and perhaps becoming the second best team in the East behind the Boston Celtics. The Sixers are still trying to figure things out. I'm curious, if you were Paul George, and this is just a hypothetical out in the universe, where are you going? Are you still considering Philadelphia? I'll ask you, Zebo. Put yourself in a different body, in the PG body.
For Paul, I think Paul's still in his prime. Paul's one of the top players in the league still. So any team that get Paul, it's going to be an instant A+. So if he go to Philly or if he stay home with the Clippers, it's going to be a great win. It's going to be a great sign and a great win for the team. So wherever he wants to, wherever get him, they're going to be lucky to get him.
The free agency period's interesting too because you get courted. It's almost like being recruited all over again. You got to see where you fit. With the Clippers opening that new building, they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at him to try to keep him to stay. Because if he's gone and Kawhi Leonard's gone, all of a sudden you're looking at there and going, we got this brand new facility and everybody's still going out to Staples Center. That's a problem. That's a problem for them.
Right.
But I think Paul George looks at it as, I can go to a team where there is already a decided demand in Joel Embiid. It means I can just run alongside Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Don't have to take the same amount of heat that I would take in terms of what is my team doing. And I get to go to the Eastern Conference. So he gets to get out of the tough Western Conference. He gets to go be 1B on a basketball team and doesn't have to shoulder the burden of really what happens with the team. And they have a young Tyrese Maxey. So I think if the money works out, taxes are a lot different. Cost of living is a lot different in Philly than it is in LA. He can get back home when he needs to. I think Philly would be a nice landing spot.
Take the heat. We're talking about Philadelphia. They threw batteries at Santa Claus.
Listen, but it'll still it'll still be a lot different. That it's Joel Embiid's basketball team. He's not going to go there and it's going to be this Paul George team.
Right.
He's a piece to it, but Embiid's play and his health will dictate what happens.
Okay,
Would
so
you
what
wear
about
a Giants jersey to an Eagles game?
I did. Me, Kyle Korver did. We played. We went, but we sat in the box.
Oh,
We
you
didn't sit in regular
I didn't
seats.
get the real feel
that's
for
different.
the fans there.
And we waited.
Really.
We waited an hour after the game was over.
Tell you
We
left? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart. That's smart.
What do you make of Paul George in Golden State, perhaps? Because Woj reported earlier that the Warriors are prepared to offer him a 4-year max deal. Perhaps could be somebody who goes and helps Steph Curry usher this Warriors team into this next iteration as they try to continue competing with Steph.
I think it's like an upgraded Andre Iguodala.
Interesting.
And the one thing we found out about the Golden State Warriors is they don't mind paying into luxury tax.
No.
They've been in luxury tax for years and years, and it doesn't affect them. And so if they can get somebody that is, like I said, a better Iguodala at this point right now where he is in his career, then that helps them because I think the one thing that really hurt them last year was, yes, they had got Kuminga to take the step, but they got Andrew Wiggins to drop back. Like when Andrew Wiggins he was last year,
Right.
they were a different basketball team. And so I think Paul George just gives them the security of fulfilling that 3 position moving forward.
Back to the Grizzlies, and we've talked about their future and a lot of emphasis on Ja and Jaren and Desmond Bane appropriately. But a player that we did not get to see as much as we had hoped for last year as well would be Marcus Smart. And some of the trade rumors leading up to tonight's draft night had been perhaps when it came to what the Houston Rockets were interested in doing at number 3. Could it involve a trade with the Grizzlies for Marcus Smart if they were really interested in getting Donovan Clingan in that spot? I know Kevin O'Connor told Chris Vernon over and over the Grizzlies are not shopping around Marcus Smart. And I'll ask you, Zebo, from not being able to have seen what Marcus Smart was brought in to be for this team and the importance of veteranship with a group of guys who continue to grow in their own right, but can certainly benefit from somebody who has been in a locker room of a team that just won a championship. Granted, after Marcus Smart was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies last season, but he knows what it's like to be a part of a group that grows into that space. How big is that?
That's great. That's real big. I think Marcus is a great guy, like you said, a great leader, and it's a great guy to have in the locker room. And I think Marcus is going to come back healthy. He's coming back healthy, and he's going to help the guys out a lot. And just with that leadership, being that dog on defense, hitting open shots and being vocal. And I think that's where he's going to help Ja and help Bane and help the young guys in. Is coming in and being vocal and being that leader in the locker room.
What do you think about Marcus Smart?
I love
next
him.
year?
I think he's
What
a great
excites you
teammate. I think his attitude the entire year, it's real easy when you get hurt to shut down, not want to be part of it. He was constantly trying to coach up the young guys, constantly trying to show them where they could get better defensively, where they could make better plays on the offensive end. Sometimes maybe a little too vocal for the referee's liking as he stepped off the bench a few times, and I think he got teed up and thrown out at least once. But I love being around him and really wanted to be part of it. And I could understand why you leave a situation that's all you know. You come in, you get hurt, the season turns into just everything that could possibly go wrong did. I thought he handled it with the utmost professionalism and really showed his true
trading
colors.
to the Minnesota Timberwolves the draft rights to Rob Dillingham, the 8th pick.
That was the Spurs pick from earlier.
And with the 17th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Dalton Connect from the University of Tennessee.
Do we have any Vols fans?
Any Vols fans in the house?
One. We have two.
The shot of their war room, they were
also
really
have some
excited
booze.
that he was still available.
He fell a lot further than expected.
It's my pick.
I think he can definitely get going. But back to Marcus Smart. I think that the thing that Marcus gives is he also gives a level of versatility, and a lot of times you don't say that for guys that are at his size, but because of his strength, because of the ability to play multiple positions and be able to play on the floor with multiple guys, then that puts him in a unique position for this team moving forward. But it also though does make it more imperative that as they move forward, then they continue to find other wing players with size and athleticism. Because at the end of the day, the one thing that you are seeing on all of these teams, when you turn around and look, and not just the guys that are playing, but look at the guys that are on the bench. There is a size and athleticism that you have to have on your basketball team. And I think it's something that for this Grizzlies team, they have been trying to find. I thought Gigi helped last year. I thought Vince Williams Jr. will help with that moving forward. But if you continue to stay with that road, then you still got Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart as being two heavy rotation guys. You're going to still have to surround that with some other size.
All right, I believe we have video of Zach Edey from his draft party. So let's take a look at Draft Edey's response to being drafted number 9 by the Memphis Grizzlies.
With the 9th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Zach Edey.
How short that man is, giving him up.
Well, look how smooth he was, though.
I might have the strongest left arm in the NBA having to interview that guy.
Listen, I'm ready to see Zach.
I need a step stool. Let's be perfectly clear. There is no way otherwise.
I do that one sitting down if I were you, Jess.
Imagine my handshake before the game with him.
I like it.
I got to figure that one out.
You got to figure out the logistics, the physics of it, where it all measures out.
I got to work on that.
Just pump up to the sky.
Yeah, I got to work on that
You
one.
look like you're pumping up for the Thunder. Here we go.
All right, before we all get out of here and usher in the last hour of the Grind City Media Live Draft Show, Zebo, I'll start with you. If you could say anything to Zach Edey right now, what's the one piece of advice or words of wisdom you'd like to share?
Just keep working hard. Come in with the mindset of working hard. It's not a sprint; it's a marathon. Put what put your time in every day, and give it 100%.
BK, how about you?
I would say get with your point guard. Get with your point guard because that is going to be your lifeline the entire year. The two of their connection throughout the season will be very telling into the outcome of games for this Grizzlies team. Not just for next year, but for years to come. You see that being a potent combination for this team.
Eric?
I'd say turn the noise off and don't try to be somebody you're not. You're not trying to be Steven Adams. You're not trying to be somebody else. You need to be the best Zach Edey that Zach Edey can be because that was good enough to get you picked 9th. The size is good enough to help this team win. Get with the point guard, as Brevin said. Get with Jaren and see what he needs you to do defensively to help him succeed and be ready to bring coffee and donuts every morning.
That's right.
Every morning. And be ready to get on that plane to Memphis, Tennessee, where I know all of you will be ready to welcome Zach Edey to Memphis. All right, that'll do it for us. Big thanks to Zebo, BK, Eric. We will be off. And coming up next, Rob Fisher, Lang Whitaker, and Bennett Doyle are here for the final hour of the draft. We are live until the end of the first round. They will be up next. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
everybody.
Hello.
What up, what up?
Hello.
How y'all doing?
How's everybody doing? How's everybody reacting to the pick tonight? Good? Good? All right. Well, we'll discuss. Happy to be with you. Thanks for sticking around for us, the late crew here tonight. I'm Rob Fisher, host on Grizzlies Television, and also host of The Odds Couple on Grind City Media with Lang Whitaker.
That's me.
Who's here as well. And Bennett Doyle from the Gary Parrish Show, and many other things as well. He is with us here as well. How are you, sir?
What's up, boys?
Many Grind City Media subsidiaries.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of Grind City Media in the house here tonight. All right. Well, before we kind of look at what's going on, and we'll keep you updated on what's happening as it's happening, I think the last team to pick was Orlando, Tristan da Silva.
Yes.
Orlando taking Tristan da Silva. So we'll continue to keep you posted on what's happening, because who knows, maybe something else could happen here before the first round is up tonight. But let's start with the Grizzlies. Zach Edey goes number 9 to the Memphis Grizzlies. Bennett, your initial reaction?
I really like the pick. I think that the Grizzlies had conviction about drafting Zach Edey. He's one of the guys that we saw earlier this week that they brought in for a workout. He clearly addresses a need for this team. I think he can give you good minutes immediately. I think he's probably your day one starting center. So I feel good about it. I know that it's a little mixed as far as the reaction to the pick, but I'm cool with it, man.
I'm going to be honest, Fish.
Uh-oh.
I'm still not 100% there yet.
Okay.
I think. I mean, I watched him in college, and I know his numbers are amazing. I don't watch a ton of college basketball, but I watched the championship game, and they got killed by UConn. And so I want to see how he translates to the NBA. The one thing that I think it was Brevin who said that started to kind of make sense for me was that, you know, you're not asking him to come in here and give you 25 and 12 every night. Just set some screens, get some rebounds, do little things. And I think he'll be able to do that. The thing I like about Edey is that, you know, he could have gone pro after his junior year.
Right.
And he went back because he wanted to try to win a title. And for all the talk about, oh, this guy's going to be a bust. I mean, the dude was a 2-time college player of the year. Like, he's a great player. He's going to translate. I just don't know to what level it translates.
Yeah, I like the pick, and it's interesting to me. I think people who don't like the pick, you hear a lot of people saying, I don't mind him, I just thought that was too high to pick him. Well, if you like him, you take him.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I think what this tells you, because everything you've heard over the last month about the NBA draft has been speculation. All of it, none of us really know what's going on in that room. Yeah, I mean, it's all speculation. So
don't tell people that.
We don't know what's going on in the room. Then you don't know what's happening as it's happening on draft night, because so much can change based on one pick. That basically, to me, what this kind of means is either you couldn't get a deal for Klingon that you thought was fair, or you thought there's not as much of a difference between the two that we're going to give up a lot to get him.
Or both things can be true.
Sure.
Right? Like maybe they couldn't work a deal for Klingon or to move up for somebody else, and they decide, you know what? Like there's not that really, you know.
Or they just really liked him.
Yeah.
And thought at 9 they obviously would be able to get him.
Yeah.
And go out and get him at number 9. And even though it might be high, I always believe if you're getting the guy that you want and the guy that you're targeting, take him when you can get him.
That makes sense.
I'd be super.
It's not my money that I'm paying.
I'd be super interested to see if there was an offer, what the offer was to move up to 6 with Charlotte. Just because I do think that they had to have been asking a lot, because we saw the rumblings all week about the Grizzlies being interested in Donovan Klingon. So I got to think that whatever they were offering, probably Charlotte was asking a little too much, right?
2024 NBA draft.
Here we got another pick.
The Toronto Raptors select Jacoby Walter from Baylor University.
I also feel like the Mikal Bridges trade last night kind of blew up the trade value for everybody, because, you know, they traded for a guy who's older than Jalen Brunson, who's never been an All-Star, and they traded what, 8 picks for the guy?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I know value is relative, et cetera, but I'm like Bennett said. I'm curious if we ever find out what was needed to move up in this draft, and maybe it was just too much.
Yeah, it was interesting with the Grizzlies, as you see, the top 6 picks in the draft, and I guess the surprise there was at number 5 when Ron Holland went all the way at 5.
Or how about 3 of the first 6 guys being French?
Yeah, that was a.
Somebody, this is an odds couple question.
What's going on over there?
Somebody asked me if we can bet on the 2028 or 2032 Olympics. Go ahead and put some futures on the French national team.
Futures on the French.
We are not allowed to. I found out.
No, we are not. No.
Yeah.
Zach Edey going number 9 there to the Memphis Grizzlies, and I guess your expectation tonight is he's your starting center, right? As of right now.
I actually Bennett said that, but like I maybe depends on the matchup. Maybe some nights he's not. Maybe.
Okay, then who is?
Jaren.
Yeah. Okay.
Brandon Clark. I don't know. I mean, I think you could mix and match depending on who you're playing against.
I saw a depth chart of the Grizzlies where at center their depth chart was Santi Aldama.
Santi. Who made that depth chart? Santi.
Who was it? It was Santi, BC, and Trey Jemison was your center position.
I mean, look, if we're comparing centers, just straight up centers, Zach Edey's better than all those guys.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
But I also think there's going to be games where you're playing against centers who are glorified power forwards who are just going to shoot threes, and maybe Zach Edey doesn't fit that. And, I guess I've always felt like in the NBA, like, sometimes it's, can we react to what you're doing? And sometimes it's like, we're going to do what we do and make you react to us.
Right.
And maybe that's what Zach Edey does for this Grizzlies team. It, gives them, hey, this is our 5, and you got to figure out a way to contend with this.
One of the things that you see a lot of, too, the reaction to this pick is, well, he's going to be too slow to run with the Grizzlies. He's going to get played off the court. Well, I mean, in a playoff scenario, I think that you're probably going to see a lot of situations like we did in the past where Jaren and BC are the ones closing out games for the Grizzlies. And so you might not even need Zach Edey to be a guy playing, towards the end of playoff minutes, right? Like, he's going to be more of your regular season Jonas Valanciunas type player. He compared himself to Jonas Valanciunas when he was going through the draft process, and I think it's a pretty good comp. I mean, we heard Jonathan Givony say the same thing. He's going to be a guy that starts for you and grabs a ton of rebounds, which is what this team needs, and blocks a lot of shots. It's what this team needs right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. And to me, if they decided not to draft him and went in another direction, then that obviously would mean, they're addressing this in free agency because it was something that needed to be addressed. Yeah. I mean, it's a glaring hole in your roster. So it was going to be addressed. They address it tonight in the draft. And I think it's great because my feeling was, and I'm so bad at talking about the draft. I'm so bad.
It's a good thing we have an hour to fill here.
Right. I'm so bad at describing what I think's going to happen in the draft.
Yeah.
But to me, the one thing that I thought was going to happen in this draft that was guaranteed was that the Grizzlies were going to take someone who's going to be able to play right now. They weren't going to take a project. They were going to take a guy at 9,
no doubt.
Or if they moved, they were getting a guy that can play right now.
Which they did.
And Zach Edey is a guy that will play right now.
I mean, it doesn't matter if he starts or finishes or, as long as he's a rotation guy, that's what matters. And I think that's what Zach Edey's going to be. Bennett, to your point about the playoffs, the game's slow in the playoffs. Like, do we need him to be able to run up and down the court? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and you look at Boston just won a title without a real traditional back to the basket center in there most of the time. I think he fits a role, and he fits sort of a plug and play for this offense.
Yeah, I like the pick, and mainly why I like the pick is because I trust this front office to make the right pick.
Yeah.
I trust that they target a person and they believe it's the right guy to target. They believe it's the right guy for the organization. And I believe that picking Zach Edey, there's a reason why they picked Zach Edey. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt every time because those people are way above my pay grade. and way above my knowledge as far as scouting these players and knowing what they are.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I need to kind of come around on this, but again, I watched Zach Edey play like about 3 entire college games. Not.
I think I lost the bet every time I bet against Zach Edey or for Zach Edey. Every time I bet on Zach Edey, I think I lost the bet. But I'm still. That's just me being a bad bettor.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, same, dude.
Right?
Come on. We're the same boat. I also saw a lot of comps. Like, people were saying there was a lot of comparisons to Luka Garza because of the National Player of the Year. And because basically people were saying, well, look at how that translated to the NBA. Dude, Zach Edey is a monster compared to Luka Garza. Like, there's no comparison there. Like, just because both guys were National Players of the Year means absolutely nothing. Like, Zach Edey towers over that guy. Luka Garza got played off the floor because he doesn't have NBA size.
Wasn't Garza like 6'11",
yeah,
6'10"?
Like Zach Edey clearly has NBA size. I mean, what are we talking about?
He has above NBA size. He has like elite size that you figure just put him out there. I mean, I guess the one word would be like, how do you keep him from clogging up the paint a little bit, you know? Because and hopefully he develops a shot, some sort of either 3-point shot or mid-range, something where they can use that. But you got to figure out how to keep him from blocking things up. Who else is getting picked, Fish?
Cleveland is taking Jalen Tyson. New Orleans taking Eve Missy.
Oh, yeah.
Eve Missy.
From Baylor?
From Baylor, yes, correct. So currently 22 Phoenix is selecting. 22.
But is that the pick they traded?
Phoenix.
To Houston or no?
It might be. Yeah. Might be. Yes, I don't know. I don't have that on my sheet. Isn't as updated as maybe as it should be.
Don't worry about it.
Grizzlies select Zach Edey at number 9 tonight. With that first pick, and they have 2 second-round picks as well. Second round, of course, is tomorrow, so we'll see what the Grizzlies do with those second-round selections. But this first-round selection going to Zach Edey, the big man out of Purdue. Here comes another pick, by the way.
2024 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Jalen Tyson from the University of California, Berkeley.
There you go. Jalen Tyson going to Cleveland at number 20. Grizzlies will have 2 picks in the second round. We're going to go to New York here in a moment and visit with Michael Wallace, who is on site tonight, and get his post-pick reactions for the Memphis Grizzlies.
It's funny that Mike and Devin are up there and the guy we picked isn't there. It's the one. I think it's like the only guy who's not at the actual draft. But there's pictures online if you look of Zach Edey's draft party, which looks pretty lit. Like, it looks like they're having fun out there. So.
Have y'all seen Jaws post?
No.
It's in reaction to drafting Zach Edey. Clip from Rush Hour where he's like looking at the guy tower. It's good. Go look at it. Jaws posted it on Instagram.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
He's fired. So our point guard's fired up.
Yeah.
So we should be too.
Well, absolutely. And that's the thing. When the team's fired up, the point guard's fired up, that's when we get fired up. He's going to visit with the media later this week, and when he visits with the media, we'll fall in love with him because he's our guy. He's our Zach Edey. You'll change. Edey. You'll come around.
100%. When I have to see him in person?
Right.
Yeah. When I have to do this to look up to him, yeah, for sure.
You'll come around at that point.
Did you see my son texted me and said, what number is Zach Edey going to wear? Do we know?
What number, what did he wear?
I don't know. Does anybody know? Does anyone? 15.
15.
That's taken, isn't it? Brandon Clark.
Yeah.
Let's get him a new number.
Yeah, well, 5. Is there a 5?
51. Cleveland coach Kenny Atkinson has agreed on a 5-year deal.
Oh, yeah?
Breaking news.
Breaking news? All right.
Yeah.
And the draft, Kenny Atkinson, how about that? A contract expected to be completed soon. 5-year deal for the Cleveland Cavaliers. New Orleans on the clock. They are picking. Their pick coming from Milwaukee. And then we got Phoenix will be on the clock then as well here in the first round as we kind of wrap things up in the first round of the draft. Let's head to New York and visit with Michael Wallace, who joins us from Barclays Center. Michael, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Winding down, a lot going on. Very exciting night here in Barclays. And as you can see, the action is right here behind me. And they're finishing up the first round, man.
How was that interview with Zach Edey?
Well, we didn't have it here because he's in Purdue.
Yeah.
He made that known. He made that known about a month ago when he said he wanted to be with his teammates, his coaches, the staff at Purdue, and all of the people that helped him get to this point in his career. So, you know, I respected that decision when he made it then. And then when you look at, you know, the two-time College Player of the Year and what he'll be able to do right from the jump, he's going to command a lot of attention. And I think he's going to be a good pick, man. I think he's going to be a good pro for a long time in the NBA.
Mike, it's Lang. I saw you on with Jessica earlier, and I couldn't hear exactly what you're saying, but I think you've been writing for Zach Edey for a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been rolling with Zach for a while. You know, I'm a traditional guy, man. I love the old school NBA. I think there still is a place for bigs in this league who can be potentially dominant. This guy does three things well. He defends the paint. He catches and scores in the paint. He sets massive screens, and he knows what he is. He's not going to try to be something that he's not, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. People can say, look, who is he going to defend, but who's going to prevent him from getting the ball? I mean, those are questions you got to ask. So he can create just as many matchup problems on one end as he's going to probably get exposed to on the other, but I think the coaching staff is going to help him and not put him in bad positions. And I think that's going to be key going forward.
So, Mike, now that the pick is
NBA
made,
draft,
and
the New Orleans Pelicans select Yves Missi from Yaoundé, Cameroon, and Baylor University.
Yves Missi going to New Orleans. That pick coming from Milwaukee. New Orleans getting Yves Missi. Go ahead, Bennett.
So, Mike, now that the pick is made and the Grizzlies have their center of the future, what do you think they look to do, especially in the second round, around 39?
Yeah, you're looking at some guys now, man, where, you know, this is a two-day draft. So only part of the work is done. That's going to be a valuable pick at the start of the second round tomorrow. And then you have a later pick down there as well, too. I think now you have to start to build out prospects for your summer league. That may be where you pick up another point guard or combo guard. That may also be where you get another wing as well, too. There's still some quality guys, including a few handful that are still in the green room right now, who are going to fall into the second round possibly. So, you know, we'll see what they use, but they definitely need to stockpile sort of their youth movement, their development movement by using those other two picks.
Michael, the big is out of the way. What's next for this team? What's the next order of business?
Well, after this, I mean, you obviously have day 2 of the draft tomorrow, and then after that, you have to make a decision, you know, on contract status. I mean, you know, it's one of those situations where, you know, what are you going to have? How are you going to go into free agency? And where are you going to go with that situation? So you got a pretty good shooter on your team that's proven to be one of the best three-point shooters in the league that you're going to have to make a contract decision on. $14.8 million. Are you going to pick that up, or are you going to allow Luke to go into free agency, Luke Kennard to go into free agency? So that decision has to be made by Saturday. And then after that, you start Summer League training camp next week and get ready for free agency from there.
Mike, you mentioned you know, these other two picks that we have to deal with. The first round's not over, and we've seen Zach Kleiman being unafraid to trade up.
Good point.
At the end of the first round, are we?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed you're still at Barclays Center. You haven't left yet.
Yeah.
Should we read anything?
Yeah, we haven't left. We haven't left yet, and there's still some players who the Grizzlies could trade back into to target. They would have to use some of their future assets to do that. We'll see. There are some guys that they still are intrigued with. You know, of the 24 players that are here in New York who went through the media circuit as prospects, the Grizzlies have worked out at least a third of them. And so they still have some guys that they put some eyes on and some hands on. And we'll see. If they're still available at the end of this draft of the first round, the Grizzlies may jump back in and get somebody else.
Let's have some fun, Michael.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And I saw the reaction. We did see the reaction that the fans there at our draft parties had when Zach's name was called. It's good to see. Zach knows that he's going to come in to a place that's going to love him, man. And all you have to do is see the work ethic that he's willing to put in. He has a great head on his shoulders. He knows how to express himself really well. When he comes in for his press conference, man, everybody's going to love him. I can tell you that right now, because he's going to get right to work and give you that grit and grind nature.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Looking forward to it. Michael, thank you so much, and a great job tonight, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys too, man.
Thanks, Mike. All right, Michael Wallace joining us from Barclays
I
Center.
want to see Zach Edey in Summer League. I hadn't thought about that until Mike talked
imagine
about
the
it.
Summer League team that the Grizzlies could put out there.
Who else?
Gigi, Zach Edey,
yeah,
Vince,
Pippen, yeah, Trey Jemison. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which of those guys will play, but they could put out a pretty awesome team.
Dude, a summer league team with Gigi and Zach Edey,
And
that is
Vince
the
Williams.
clear favorite to win the
Right?
summer. Yes, immediately.
Yeah.
Summer league dynasty, dude. What? It would be our third summer league championship. Well, we got Orlando. We got Ja's rookie year when he didn't play when BC was the MVP. Yeah, dude. Summer league dynasty. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's go.
That's
Let's
like,
get the Summer
Nate
League.
Robinson. Nate Robinson got his number retired at Summer League.
Right.
He never got it retired in the actual NBA, but they retired his jersey because he was like so dominant at Summer League. What if the Grizzlies, we get rings or something for Summer League because we're so good?
Absolutely.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, no doubt. T-shirts at least, right? They got to do that. Summer League will be Summer League. This makes Summer League more exciting. The best thing about tonight and what's to come with Summer League and things like that is that the Grizzlies go into the next season as a team that's expected to be a contender. So adding a top 10 pick to a contender's, we get the excitement of having a top 10 pick while having a team that's expected to contend.
And
having a Summer League team with guys who could be awesome at Summer League and not get a lot of minutes.
We should broadcast those games.
Absolutely.
But the thing about adding a top 10 pick to a contending team is it's also a guy who you need. Like, it's not like you're adding a guy who might spend half the season in the G League. And to Bennett's point, he could start. And either way, I think Zach Edey comes in right away as a rotation player and is expected to play a very big role on your team.
For sure. And when Zach Kleiman talked a couple weeks ago, he even mentioned that they were interested in adding multiple bigs to this team. So I don't think they're done by any means. I don't think he'll be the last center that they add to this team. I think they will go get more rebounding, probably someone who's played multiple years in the league. I would think that they're not done with that front court.
Really?
Yeah. You think
I just don't know how many roster spots you have.
That's a good point. We're pretty full at the moment.
Or money.
I'm looking at it right now.
So I don't know. But that'd be great. How great would it be to get? I don't want to mention any names.
Don't mention names.
No, mention names. Come on, dude. Mention names.
This is GCM after dark. You can talk about whatever
But
you
get
want.
a veteran big guy who can be your backup to Zach.
sure, yeah,
Absolutely. I'd feel much better about
Because
that.
right now the backup, if Zach Edey's your starter, Trey Jemison's your backup.
Yeah.
Who might actually be younger than Zach Edey. I don't know offhand, but he's not it's not a guy who's spent 5 years in the NBA.
No.
And you could go get somebody who not only would be a good backup guy to Zach Edey and teach him to practice,
Phoenix
but a good
Suns
locker room
select
guy also.
Deron Holmes II from the University of Dayton.
That's a great pick by them.
They traded, right? Denver got
They traded to Denver, yeah.
Oh.
According to Woj, Denver is traded into this pick for Deron Holmes II.
And they traded a lot to get that pick.
Including number 28. Phoenix will now have the 28th pick instead of Denver here in this first round.
Phoenix
There are
does realize
4,
that-
6, 8 picks left in the first round.
that?
Phoenix does realize that they have to play more players besides just Devin Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal, correct?
Don't tell them.
Like they actually have to field a roster.
No, they didn't think that this year.
I don't know what's going on there.
I don't either.
Man. They said they're running it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Nuggets are sending Phoenix number 28, number 56, and 2 future second-round picks. So they got 4 picks for the number 22 pick. For moving down 2 spots.
Wow.
It's not bad.
Must have really wanted Deron Holmes II.
He was pretty highly regarded. I saw a lot of people talking about him as a lower third of the first round pick, and a guy who developmentally has a high upside. High upside is always a great term, right? Like, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. High upside is great. If you're given that term, yeah.
Did you say it? Nobody knows.
Nobody pays attention.
That's
but
the other one I
always
love to use is when somebody asks you about somebody, you just say, "Well, he moves real well without the ball."
Moves well without the ball.
Nobody knows if it's
high upside.
Yeah, high up.
Yeah.
He's got a great upside.
Can use that. Grizzlies got a guy which I think was a must tonight, a guy that can play. Because I think the Grizzlies are at a point right now as an organization that basically you are in win now mode. I think all the assets that you've built over the last couple of years, you use them now because this team can contend now. And it was a huge factor tonight, I think, for the Grizzlies to get someone who can play now because this now is the time. There's no, this is for the future, and the future is now with this basketball team.
We saw that last season when everybody got hurt.
Right.
And you see all these young guys, and now you realize, like, all right, those guys can play, but they're not. We don't need them to start. We don't need these guys to play 35 minutes every single night like that. We have 1 through 10, 1 through 9, a lot of good NBA players and role players and everything else. Now you just got to get everyone healthy, and then adding a top 10 pick and a guy who's a 2-time college player of the year seems like it's a pretty darn good addition to this team.
I was asking Mike, what do you guys want to see them do in this second round? I mean, what do you want to see them try to add in this draft besides rebounding?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, like Mike mentioned, development. Like a lot of those two-way guys have been developed at this point, right? Like, Santi's playing on the team. Guys like Jemison and Scottie Pippen and all these guys have come in, and you kind of, we need those guys. I think you kind of need to get a couple of guys who maybe you don't expect them to play right away. Maybe you expect them to be ready in a year or two. But bring in a couple of guys and start taking swings. Like they did it last year with Gigi at 45 where they picked him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it turns out he gets to play and he's great right off the bat. But I mean, that feels like that's kind of what that was a year ago with Gigi, was just taking a chance on somebody and who hadn't played a lot of college basketball, who was the youngest player in the draft, and maybe we'll develop him and down the road. But it just turned out that he turned out to be great. I think maybe they try that again in the second round. That's my guess. I don't know. What do you think, Fish?
I don't know. I mean, I'd prefer not to have the picks, to be honest with you. I mean, I think you don't want to even though what you're talking about makes sense, I don't want to have more guys at the end of the roster who I don't think can play.
Yeah, but
I think you need
to your point, the roster is pretty full.
Right.
Like if you utilize 2 second-round picks, you've got a log jam, right? You're going to have to make some kind of decision.
I'd still I mean, unless you feel like you can have a find like you had with Gigi last year, that's fine. But if you want to stash one of them, that's cool too.
I don't think you're saying you don't think they can play. You're just saying I don't think they can play this season. Right. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, like with Gigi, you're saying I think he can play in 2 years, and instead of stashing him in Italy, let's stash him in South Haven. And let him play down there for a year or two, and maybe see what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's interesting. Or to your earlier point with Zach Edey and trading up or whatever. Like if you find a guy you want, maybe there's somebody still left, and take those 2 picks and package them with something else and move up and find somebody else here.
Yeah, wouldn't shock you if something like that were to happen. And we'll keep you posted. Denver with the last pick. They get the pick from Phoenix. Deron Holmes II going with that one. And then we got another one coming up here in Milwaukee on the clock. This pick from New Orleans, and we'll have that coming up here in a moment. The Grizzlies selecting Zach Edey with the number 9 pick tonight overall in the NBA draft. And Milwaukee looks like selecting AJ Johnson from Australia's NBL via Fresno, California at number 23.
The old Fresno NBL NBA pipeline.
Yeah, going to go to Milwaukee. That pick coming from New Orleans. That's number 23 here in the first round. Anything surprise you? What was the biggest surprise so far in the first round? Is it Dalton Connect?
What do you think, Bennett?
Honestly, I might say Ron Holland to Detroit. I think that's the first surprise. Yeah, he went higher than I thought he would. I'm a fan. I think that he's got potential to be a good player in this league. He probably has the most upside of anybody in this draft, but I don't think anybody necessarily thought he would go as high as number 5. Detroit's got time, right? You've got plenty of time to develop him. So I think it makes sense for them. I'm just kind of surprised it happened there.
Am I right to be suspicious of Reed Shepherd? Because he measured at, 6'1"? At the Combine? And I know he's the most athletic player, and he shot 52% from the field in college or whatever it was. And he's a great shooter, but didn't start. And, I don't know. I was listening on the radio on the way here to the broadcast of the draft, and they were like, "Oh, well, you put Reed Shepherd alongside Fred VanVleet. I was like, well, first of all, they're going to be undersized every single night, and then number 2,
With the 23rd pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select AJ Johnson from Fresno, California, and Australia's.
And then also, if he's playing alongside Fred VanVleet, well, is Jalen Green not playing? Doesn't that guy get the ball? So I'm just a little curious with Reed Shepherd how he fits and what his fit is with a 3rd pick in the draft.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if anything happens here with these next 2. The Knicks have 24 and 25.
But didn't one of those Brooklyns now?
As part of the
maybe
Bridges
both of
trade.
Yeah, New York.
The Knicks just traded number 24 to the Wizards.
There we go. Yeah, because I think that was a big sticking point with the Bridges trade was the fact that
they didn't want
to be involved in this draft.
The other thing when I was driving here, they were talking about Zach Rizache, the first guy selected,
right?
And they compared him to Harrison Barnes, and I thought, well, that's for the first pick of the draft. That's something, I don't know.
You'd like a better comp than that if you're the first pick of the draft.
If I was Zach Rizache, I would like to be compared to somebody better than Harrison Barnes.
Yeah,
and Harrison Barnes is a great role player for those Warriors and the Kings, but you're the number 1 pick, and that's your comp.
Who do y'all think is going to be the first All-Star from this draft?
Reed Shepherd. No.
First All-Star?
Mm-hmm. If there is one.
Zach Edey.
Yeah, okay, I like it. Yeah, but we don't do by position anymore, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah,
it's just front court and guards. And the West is going to be hard anyway, so there's probably somebody in the East.
Damn, if we went by position, I'd go Zach Edey. Yeah.
Alex Sarr?
We'll see.
Alex Sarr, the number 2 pick to Washington.
I'm looking for an East team.
I think I'm going to go Stephon Castle with the Spurs.
It's going to be tough in the West to be a guard.
To be a guard. You're right.
You got to beat out Steph Curry and different guys. That's going to be tough. And Stephon Castle I think he's going to be a great player.
He's
on the Spurs.
a Spur, though, dude. He'll find his way into an All-Star game. Come on.
Maybe so.
Portland goes Donovan Clingan. That upset a lot of people.
I don't understand the fit
Grizzlies
there.
Pick. DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah, somebody was like, well, he'll be great. And I was like, well, is he going to play power forward? Or what are you doing? DeAndre Ayton's also a giant guy who's not the fastest guy in the world. And to put 2 of those guys together, I don't know.
And it seemed like it was talked about being a need and a must, and it was automatic that they were taking Clingan if he was available there, and they did.
I mean, more power to him, But it's hard enough in the NBA these days to have 1 big on the floor, 1 slow big guy, but to have 2 of them at the same time, I don't know. That feels like a tough Tough connection.
So he goes 7. Rob Dillingham went 8 in front of the Grizzlies to Minnesota in a trade from San Antonio. Rob Dillingham going there at number 8, and then that left it open for Connect or Edey. Did you think it was between those two?
No.
No?
Because we needed a center. Like
I know, we really did.
We don't need a guy who can score. And Connect's a great scorer, but like that's kind of what he does. And we need somebody to do the things other than score. We need someone to rebound, block shots, set screens, like Mike pointed out.
Yeah, I'm surprised he fell all the way down to 17. Like,
To the
if you're a
Lakers.
Lakers fan, you got to be ecstatic about that. I mean, you got a guy that's going to play for you this season. Like, you got a rotation guy. I don't know if anybody thought they would get that at 17.
Yeah. Do you think he can do the things other than score in the NBA? I didn't watch him enough in college. Like, can he rebound, defend, make the extra pass, all that kind of stuff?
They might not need him to.
You just see him
They might
stand
not
in the
need him
corner
to,
and let
yeah.
LeBron hit you in the pass. Yeah.
Man, this today's NBA. Score.
JJ Redick's
Right.
first pick as Lakers.
JJ Redick's
Yeah.
first pick is a guy that is a scorer. Absolutely. And I think he's going to be great. And I think he's going to be great for the Lakers because they need guys who, excuse me, don't make a lot of money that can contribute.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
they can't spend money on anybody.
true.
So they need guys like Austin Reeves that can contribute, and Dalton Connect can contribute to this team right away.
Like Austin Reeves.
He does. I mean, he's still young in his career.
Yeah. I think Austin Reeves is going to be a better all-around player than Connect was. Like Austin Reeves,
Sure.
is not like
Oh, I think Austin
Yeah.
Reeves is terrific, and
you
his
need
contract
somebody-
is great.
you need somebody better than like Rui Hachimura or somebody. You know, like
Yeah.
The Knicks now selected number 25 and 26. This is like figuring out a puzzle. Doing this on the fly.
I know.
So here's the quote I was talking about earlier when Zach Edey was doing his comps. He talked to Michael Cole. He said, "I'm built to be in the paint. I think there's a lot of people in the NBA that do stuff like that. Jonas Valanciunas, Zubac, Steven Adams, guys who've had a lot of success in the NBA being presences. I'm going to stick to who I am." Like, I love that. He knows why he's coming here, right?
Yeah.
Like, he knows his role.
Also, like, what team would draft Zach Edey and be like, all right, you're going to be at the three-point line on the corner. Just stand out here and shoot threes. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Yeah. I like that he's not like saying, oh, I'm gonna turn into a stretch, whatever. You know, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. No, I'm just do what you do, man. You're a big dude. Stand there and take up space and do those things.
Because you know what the Grizzlies need?
What?
Him to do what he do.
Do what he do?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they need him to do.
What he does?
Yes. Did you guys see Frank Mason, who used to play at Kansas?
Yeah.
So I guess he's playing in France now, and he was talking about Zachary Richardson, and he said, "I played this young guy in France this past season. No way he's the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. LOL. But I guess."
But I guess.
Damn.
Yeah. It is sort of interesting that all these French dudes have been gone. Like in the first 6 picks, top 3 are all French, and then there was another guy. A little bit later, like, or the Hornets guy, and then there's a different guy in like number 16. So maybe not 16, but somewhere around there. Flip it.
Yeah, you say it. You want to try that?
Eves Missy.
What's that?
You want to try? You want to say that?
No.
I'm not even gonna try.
Kelsey was taking my picture. I was just smiling.
We got a pick.
With the 24th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Keyshawn George from Monte, Switzerland, and the University of Miami.
Swiss guy.
And that pick reportedly going to Washington. And now the Knicks will pick the next 2 picks in the draft, 25 and 26, getting number 26 back from the Wizards. Yes.
If you're a rookie and you get drafted by the Knicks, you just be like, oh crap.
If you get drafted by the Wizards,
No, if you get drafted by the Knicks, because you know you're not going to play. You know, like the Knicks, like.
Yeah, but you're on a good team.
Yeah, but they only play 6 guys. Like you're going to be in Westchester all year playing in the G League, and.
Yeah, but still could win.
If you can crack the rotation, you're going to play 40 minutes a night, and it's awesome. But nobody, and they just traded for another guy. Like I don't know, being drafted by the Knicks, it's like a high and a low.
It's better than being drafted by the Wizards.
Maybe.
Fair.
I mean, you might
Or
get
the
to
Hawks.
play, but
Oh yeah, you'll get minutes.
Knicks are in talks at moving trade number 26. Sources tell ESPN. Who's moving up on 26?
all right. Yeah, they're selecting at number 25 now, and then they'll select at number 26 as well. Before these are the final 6 picks of the first round of the draft. Tomorrow is the second round of the draft. It'll be in the afternoon tomorrow, which will be interesting to see how that works out.
Before
after
the
second round.
Before the USA soccer game.
Oh yeah.
And the debate tomorrow night.
Oh, is that why we're doing it tomorrow afternoon?
I don't know why.
I saw someone say they should let Donald Trump and Joe Biden make the
I
picks.
said that.
Yeah, leading up. Oh, it was you. Okay.
I tweeted that.
I was like, who said that to me earlier?
Just to have those guys should run the second round of the draft just to lead into the debate. Trump and Biden, have them come out and announce the picks, and what could go
I'd
wrong?
watch.
Yeah.
Were you guys out here for the reaction of Zach Edey's selection?
Yeah, we had just lost $10 each on the slots.
Oh no.
And we were standing over there when it happened.
It was a good reaction.
Well, it was sort of mixed because there was that erroneous tweet that we were trading up to get Klingon at 6, and everybody was all fired up, and then it said nope, fell through. And then everybody's like, oh, and then the Blazers took Klingon, and everybody was upset. But then, yeah, people were excited about Zach Edey once it was clear that was our guy.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of you would have liked if you liked Klingon, and if that's who you wanted. If you couldn't get him, this certainly was a second resort, just because of the position.
The Knicks are planning to pick number 25 and number 26 now.
Oh, okay.
Source says.
All right.
Would it be hilarious if they drafted Bronny?
Yeah, pretty much.
Would it be?
Who was it? Was it Bill Simmons that said Boston should do it at the end of this draft just to
somebody at the
mess
first
with the
round?
Lakers? Yeah. Be hilarious. I did think that there was a chance. It's not going to happen now. Like, he's not going to the first round. I mean, that was like my hot take today, was that he was going to go in the first round. But no, I do not think it's going to happen.
I don't think it'll happen.
Are we in trouble?
Are we?
I don't know.
No.
Scott just walked over here. And
No, we're good.
Right.
We're good. Well,
I brought up politics. I thought we might.
Yeah. All right, so the Grizzlies now. Where do we go from here? We're going to have 2 second-round picks, at least as of now, for tomorrow. And then free agency starts. And then summer league starts.
I think the real.
Is there much happening? Like Luke Kennard's contract?
Kennard,
that happens Friday.
That's
What
big.
happens there?
They have to announce that by Friday, Saturday.
Friday, yeah.
I'm sure they've already decided what's going to happen there. The new first and second apron rules that have come out are wildly confusing, but they're really punitive. Like if you go over the different thresholds, and so I don't really. I saw like Minnesota, the trade they made tonight for who was it? Number 10.
Minnesota to get Dillingham?
Like that was basically a loophole in the second apron to get Dillingham for $5 million or something like that.
Yep.
I would imagine whatever the Grizzlies do, yes, it's dictated by money, but it's also going to be dictated by flexibility and future ability to do other things too. And look, Kennard's led the league in three-point shooting a couple of years in a row now. That's hard to find, and there's real value in that. So I don't know how you figure out what the variables are in this situation, but to me, like that's the real decision that has to be made is what do we do with Luke Kennard in this contract?
No question. I mean, if you just look at this roster right now, if there's not a plan to address the shooting, like you lose him, and you're already one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. You lose Luke Kennard, one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Where are you going to address that?
And maybe the argument is, we address it by Desmond Bane getting healthy and by Marcus Smart getting healthy, and
But we know Marcus Smart's a streaky three-point shooter, right? Like Luke Kennard, He's open.
He's lights
That's
out.
pretty consistent. So I hope he's back.
Oh, the Knicks are targeting a French guard.
Oh. Who'd we get?
You say it.
Pacom Daddier. Pacom Daddier. We will we'll let the commissioner do it, see how close I was. Pacom Didier, going number 25 to the New York Knicks. Yeah, there you go. That'll be number 25 for the Knicks. They'll pick again at number 26. Grizzlies will have 39 and 57. 39 from Brooklyn via Houston and 57 from Oklahoma City via Houston and Atlanta. But 39 and 57 in the second round. We'll see if the Grizzlies select those players or if they move those players or if they get somebody and stash somebody. All are options, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening, like I said, when I was driving here, and I think Ginobili was 57 or somewhere around that range when the Spurs drafted him, you know, and he didn't come over right away. You know, that was one of those draft a guy and bring him over. I mean, look, it's clearly a lot easier to scout the world now than it was 30 years ago when the Spurs were just hitting home run after home run on drafting these foreign guys at the end of the first round.
That's right.
So I don't think it'll be that easy to do something like that. But like we said, last year, you know, the second round, Grizzlies took a swing on a kid who was super young and no one really knew what to expect. Let's see how Commissioner pronounces this
With the
name.
25th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Pacom Daddier.
Oh, you nailed it.
Vitry-sur-Seine, France.
Stacey Paul.
You know, I took 4 years of French.
I took 6
in high school.
Well,
and the thing was, it's because I was told after year 2 that I needed 4 years for college, right? That I didn't have to take it in college.
Were you going to college in France? Like, who told you?
So I was like, all right. So I took the 4 years of it, and then I got to college and said, you don't have to take it. And I was like, what?
I took 4 years in high school and then 2 years in college, and then I married a woman who speaks Spanish.
Oh.
And so it's like, well, great.
I remember my first semester of French. That's about it. My name, my age, where I'm from. How are you doing?
I heard a lot of
That's about it.
shut your mouth. I got a lot of that.
It's the fourth French player taken in the first round.
Fourth?
How many?
4.
I think there's more. There's 3
Am
in the
I
top
missing one?
6, and then the Hornets guy. Where is he from? Oh, that's 6. All right, maybe that's it. Where's Yves Missy from?
He went to number 21.
Well, he went to Baylor, but
to New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans, yeah.
Shout out to France.
Shout out.
It's a big night for France.
Shout out to France. Big night for France during the NBA draft. And shout out Canada for Zach Edey coming to the Memphis Grizzlies. Always love to shout out Canada, and it'll be happy to have him here. He'll be introduced to the team later in the week, or introduced to the city later in the week. And I always find that when these introductions happen in these introductory press conferences, how we fall in love with our players. Yeah. And the one guy that comes to mind the most is Jaren Jackson Jr. Remember Jaren wouldn't work out in Memphis and didn't want to go to Memphis?
I don't remember that.
Oh, all this stuff. And then the Grizzlies draft him, and his first night on the phone, in his phone conference, he was as wonderful as Jaren always is. And then when he showed up, he was even better.
I was in New York. I was at the draft when we drafted Jaren in 2018, and the Grizz Gaming had a game the next night, so I was there. So I went for Grind City Media to cover the draft, and so when we drafted Jaren, me and the PR guy and whoever was doing social media, we all go off with Jaren. And we get back in this back room, and you know how Jaren's personality is now, real bubbly and stuff. He was like shot out of a cannon that night. He was so, and I was like, and I actually asked him, I was like, are you always like this excited? And he was like, can I be honest with you? I've had so much Mountain Dew tonight. And he was just totally hopped up on Mountain Dew and caffeine. And then since then, we've seen him mature and grow a little bit. But that night, you know, you got a sense right away. Remember, he walked off the arena floor and he was singing "Shoot" by Block Boy JP. Right. Like that right away, like you're like, all right, this guy gets it. Like he knows how to connect and he knows what is expected of him and how to be a franchise type player.
Yeah.
And so I think with Zach Edey, I'm excited to see him in person and see him tower over everybody on that stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we fall in love with him because he's our guy, and that's what happens when you take guys in the draft. You fall in love with them because they're yours. And Zach Edey is ours, Memphis Grizzly. Looking forward to it next season as he joins the Grizzlies this summer league. Looking forward to it as he gets started with the Grizzlies. All right.
You know what else is good about Zach Edey?
About who?
Zach Edey.
No.
He's durable.
Yeah.
Like he's not a guy who played 2 games and missed the whole season. And
Right.
all that. So he's played a lot of games.
That's nice.
Yeah, I consider what we've been through the last year.
No kidding.
Getting a guy who can stay on the floor seems like an important thing. So.
All right. I was going to ask you your favorite draft moments. Not tonight.
All time?
All time.
Ooh.
How many drafts have you covered?
The Knicks are trading number 26 to the Thunder. Source tells ESPN.
Oh, okay.
It was Washington from the Clippers via Dallas and Oklahoma City. Now back to the Thunder.
Okay, see, yeah. All right, how many drafts have you covered?
I don't know. I went to a lot through there. Somebody's getting picked right now. I just heard the music. Thunder selecting Dylan Jones at number 26. Dillon, like our old friend Dylan Brooks. I've been to a lot of drafts. I remember the year that everyone thought Nerlens Noel was going to be the first pick, and he ended up going 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
I was. One of the most interesting things was I was in the room with the ping pong balls the year the Cavs won and got Kyrie, and they had won it, previously, and everyone was all pissed off that they somehow did it again.
Right.
But being back in that room is actually really boring because they do the ping pong ball thing, and it's a combination of balls, right? There's 6 balls, and you have to get the certain thing. But each team has one team has 400 combinations, one team has 350. So they do it, and everybody's like, why don't they do this live on TV? Because it takes an hour. It is boring. And they just keep doing the balls over and over. 28 times, one team comes up with the same combination. So then they just keep doing it. So that's not that much fun. It is weird because they take your phone, your pins, everything away from you. And you go back in this room for an hour and you're just stuck without anything.
Oh, and it sucks.
It's kind of strange. And then but then the actual show happens and you're still stuck in the room because you're not allowed out of the room until it's announced to the world.
Right.
Then you come out, they take all your stuff and they put it in a sealed envelope. It's like being in jail. You come out and they hand you, what I assume it must be like. And then you come out and they hand you your stuff back and you're back free.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the draft?
I've never been to the draft. No. But my favorite draft moment was when the Grizzlies were selecting Ja Morant, number 2. And yeah, that was fun.
With the 26th pick
hold on.
in the 2024 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select Dylan Jones from Weber State University.
That pick is going to Oklahoma City. And that pick has been traded around a lot.
Yeah.
But going to Oklahoma City. So we were at FedEx Forum for the party that night, for the draft party.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
Ja Morant.
DJ Easy Rock.
Easy Rock.
And Rob Bass. Rob Bass. Thank you.
It's Rob, yeah.
Rob Bass performed
It Takes Two.
And Rob Bass is one of my favorites of all time. My first CD I ever bought was Rob Bass, It Takes Two. Yeah. So I was very fired up about it. I got my picture taken with Rob Bass and all that stuff, and we got Ja Morant, so it was a pretty special night for me.
I remember
my
that.
favorite draft. Yeah. Bennett, your favorite draft?
I mean, dude, the moment with Ja and his dad was pretty cool. That's up there as far as a Grizzlies memory.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think I'll go with that.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a winner. I like it. That's a good way to end. A good way to end tonight is Zach Edey is a Memphis Grizzly, and it'll be a lot of fun to be introduced to him later in the week. We thank you
By
all.
the way, the Thunder are trading 5 second-round picks to get that number 26 pick from the Knicks.
Wow. They must really like him. That's going to do it for us.
We out.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking around. Enjoy the rest of the draft. Go Gamble. and get a room here at the hotel. It's fantastic. Have a great night, everybody.